establish a situation of mutual contention and engage in a long-term struggle. Gu Qijue gathered all the spirit race ancient texts together and then issued a command to the Infinite Engine. Scan and analyze these spirit race ancient texts and formulate the next course of action. The Infinite Engine immediately started running, executing Gu Qijue's command, scanning and analyzing spirit race ancient texts. Please wait, spirit race ancient texts scanning and analysis complete. Spirit race database content increased by 15%, intelligence gathering and analysis in progress, action plan being formulated. Please wait, action plan formulation complete. Based on the current team situation, the Infinite Engine has created 5 plans. Please review them. Hearing this, Gu Qijue began reviewing the 5 proposed action plans. All 5 action plans were extremely detailed and specific, listing various problems that might be encountered along the way. When Gu Qijue had the Infinite Engine formulate action plans, sometimes he would adopt them entirely, sometimes he would make modifications, and sometimes he would reject them completely. After all, the battlefield situation changes rapidly, and the intelligence collected by the Infinite Engine is limited, so the action plans it provides are not necessarily 100% feasible. This time, Gu Qijue did not adopt the action plans provided by the Infinite Engine, but instead modified and synthesized the 5 proposals. Just as he was preparing to lead his small team to continue their mission, the Star Cluster Alliance side stirred up trouble again. Since his main body cannot enter the Zhantian universe, the Star Cluster Alliance in the Sacred Mark universe is Gu Qijue's current base of operations. Only if the Star Cluster Alliance remains trouble-free can he secretly and silently make a fortune. Not long ago, he developed the Luo Lan Alliance into the Star Cluster Alliance's peripheral mercenary force. Normally, the Star Cluster Alliance shouldn't encounter any problems for a long time. However, the awakening of his main body, which was left in the Infinite Empire's leader cultivation Dao field, clearly indicated that the Star Cluster Alliance had run into trouble. Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone immediately looked at Vivian and said, "I need to enter a period of dormancy. You will command this team and my undead legion. Focus on preserving strength and don't take unnecessary risks." As Gu Qijue finished speaking, his Spirit Clan clone transformed into a mass of purplish-black smoke. A necromancer crystal core, resembling an amethyst, appeared before Vivian. The purple smoke, which was Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone, entered this necromancer crystal core. The necromancer crystal core then landed in Vivian's hand. Inside were Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone and the 100,000-strong undead legion. Vivian is an undead contracted with Gu Qijue. To use an imprecise description, she can be seen as a cell of Gu Qijue. Therefore, she will not betray him and can be trusted completely. The last time Gu Qijue's consciousness returned to his main body, he handed over command authority to Lin Maoyan. Although Lin Maoyan is a clever child, she is still just a child, and there is a huge difference between her and an intelligent undead like Vivian. As long as no massive unforeseen changes occur this time, Vivian is unlikely to squander his assets. Star Cluster Alliance, Heavy Cold Star. Infinite Empire, Leader Cultivation Dao Field. Gu Qijue's eyes suddenly opened and closed, his consciousness instantly returning to his main body. He then did not hesitate and immediately entered the holographic conference room. This time, the holographic conference room was special, with only 5 people attending. On the left side of the holographic conference room were Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor, 2 A-rank cosmic-level powerhouses. On the right side of the holographic conference room were the Star Cluster Alliance's 3 great leaders, God of Brightness, Southern Emperor, and Gu Qijue. After Gu Qijue appeared, he was the first to speak. "I have been cultivating and advancing recently, and I haven't paid attention to outside matters. What happened? This incident must be significant, otherwise the 5 great leaders wouldn't be gathered here." God of Brightness said seriously, "The Demon Antelope tribe, under the Lick civilization, has attacked. The Demon Antelope tribe is one of the main forces of the Lick civilization, and their strength is terrifying. Since the war began, the Demon Antelope tribe has already swept through dozens of forces like the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance." Hearing this, Gu Qijue thought internally, if that's the case, why hold a meeting? Running away quickly should be the priority. After all, even if the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance joined forces, they couldn't achieve such formidable results. However, since the 5 great leaders are gathered here for a meeting, it means there must be some sort of turning point in the situation. Gu Qijue immediately turned his gaze toward the god of brightness, waiting for him to continue speaking. God of brightness indeed continued. The demon antelope tribe that appeared in this star domain is only one of the 9 divisions of the demon antelope tribe. In other words, we are about to face 1/9 of the demon antelope tribe's powerhouses. If we engage in direct combat, even if the Luo-Lan Alliance and the Star Cluster Alliance manage to repel them, they will pay a heavy price. This time, we need to discuss how to handle this matter. 451. The Art of War, General Holmes. Gu Qijue had long suspected that this matter would be significant, however. Before entering the Star Cluster Alliance's holographic conference room, he hadn't realized just how big it was. The Demon Antelope tribe, as one of the main forces of the Lick civilization, possessed terrifying strength. Since the war began, they had swept through dozens of forces like the Star Cluster Alliance, achieving truly astonishing feats. Fortunately this time, the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo-Lan Alliance did not need to face all of the Demon Antelope tribe's enemies. The best approach was for the Star Cluster Alliance to incorporate the Demon Antelope tribe. In the future, if forces from the Dark Emperor civilization arrived, the Luo-Lan Alliance would deal with them. If forces from the Lick civilization arrived, the Demon Antelope tribe would deal with them. This model was good, but it was unfeasible. After pondering for a moment, Gu Qijue asked. The God of Brightness said. The God of Brightness's view was clearly also that of Emperor Luo, Lily Bell Emperor, and Southern Emperor. Last time, Gu Qijue had persuaded the Luo-Lan Alliance with his eloquent tongue. This time, the 4, including Emperor Luo, also hoped he could subdue the enemy without fighting. In his heart, Gu Qijue was indeed unwilling to participate in such wars of conquest. The reason was simple: such wars were unjust. More importantly, he couldn't be a hegemon. Currently, the development of the Infinite Empire was still in its intermediate stage. If the Infinite Empire had sufficient strength, he would directly beat the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization into submission. Facing the gazes of the 4, including the God of Brightness, Gu Qijue said upon hearing this. The God of Brightness breathed a sigh of relief and said. Gu Qijue shook his head. He did not want the God of Brightness and others to know his true strength and trump cards. His energy fluctuations were completely concealed. Only a very small number of high-ranking officials in the Infinite Empire knew how strong he truly was. Everyone else was unaware. Furthermore, he possessed the positioning teleportation star chart, a treasure artifact, allowing him to escape at any time. Unless someone could instantly kill him without giving him any chance to react, it would be impossible to kill him. However, for this meeting with the Demon Antelope tribe warriors, he would keep the positioning teleportation star chart in an activated state. If anything went wrong, he would instantly flee. If the Demon Antelope tribe was willing to negotiate with them, they probably wouldn't attack him. War is the continuation of politics, and the essence of politics is interest. To put it simply, both sides were not fighting for the sake of fighting, but for the distribution of benefits. As long as the benefits were sufficient and there was a suitable plan, the Demon Antelope tribe and the Star Cluster Alliance might not go to war. After the Star Cluster Alliance proposed negotiations, the Demon Antelope tribe immediately agreed. At the appointed time, Gu Qijue went alone to the flagship of the Demon Antelope 9th Division. There, he saw War Marshal Holmes of the Demon Antelope 9th Division. Although Holmes was a war marshal, unfortunately, when he returned home, he did not find his daughter living in a dog kennel. Then, with a single command, 100,000 Demon Antelope tribe soldiers arrived and built 100,000 dog kennels for his daughter. Holmes was a goat-headed, human-bodied alien with dark blue skin, and his rank was higher than Gu Qijue had imagined. He was not an A-tier, but an S-tier universe-level powerhouse who had already entered the transcendent A-tier domain. Holmes held a glass of red wine, his gaze fixed on Gu Qijue with interest. As Gu Qijue approached, he gestured for Gu Qijue to sit down. At the same time, he instructed a servant to pour Gu Qijue a glass of red wine. Then he spoke, saying something Gu Qijue had never expected. Holmes said, "I want to turn some useless materials into useful weapons, equipment, and various treasure artifacts." Gu Qijue originally had no confidence at all in persuading Holmes. After all, the two sides were not in the same camp, but rather opposing camps, but he truly hadn't expected Holmes to be here for business. However, Gu Qijue did not let down his guard. Neither the Dark Emperor civilization nor the Lick civilization would allow such a thing. For the Star Cluster Alliance, having the Luo-Lan Alliance act as their bodyguard was already the limit. the small star cluster alliance could not truly be a fence-sitter, trying to please both sides. Gu Qijue thought for a moment and asked. Holmes's interest was piqued. He, who had been standing, sat down opposite Gu Qijue at the negotiating table, nodded, and said, "The demon antelope tribe not only has newly incorporated legions, but also a large number of space pirates and criminal legions." Gu Qijue understood that in some respects, he had reached an unspoken understanding with War Marshal Holmes. He immediately said, Holmes took a sip of red wine. Then continued, Gu Qijue nodded, he now understood Holmes's meaning. The Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance could not coexist peacefully with the Demon Antelope tribe. However, the two sides could engage in limited warfare. For example, they could let their war machines fight, so that both sides would only lose war machines. After these war machines were recycled for materials, they could be remanufactured into new war machines and sent back to the battlefield. Compared to precious population resources, the loss of these war machines was insignificant. Additionally, criminal legions could be sent to the battlefield. Some of these people were already sentenced to death, so dying on the battlefield could be considered a fitting end. Although the lives of death row inmates are still lives, these people are unlikely to feel indignant. If they are to feel cold, it can only be the coldness of being completely dead on the battlefield. Moreover, as long as the high-ranking officials of both sides reached an understanding, there would be too much room for manipulation. After doing so, casualties on both sides would be controlled to the greatest extent. Gu Qijue thought carefully for a moment and said, "As for the high-ranking officials of the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance, I will persuade them to establish an understanding with Your Excellency." Holmes was very satisfied, so he showed his sincerity to Gu Qijue. The Demon Antelope 9th Division is composed of 50% criminal legions, 30% space pirate legions, 10% war machines, and 10% main Demon Antelope tribe forces. The Demon Antelope tribe hopes that its warriors can receive the maximum and longest possible tempering on this battlefield. Holmes's words, simply put, meant that 90% of the Demon Antelope 9th Division's combat units could die in battle. However, the direct lineage main forces of the Demon Antelope tribe must be tempered and improved, and survive to the greatest extent, safely withdrawing in the end. As long as the Demon Antelope tribe, the Star Cluster Alliance, and the Luo Lan Alliance had enough understanding among themselves, all three parties could have sufficient room for maneuver in this universe-level war of conquest, extracting benefits for themselves. End of chapter 452. War has broken out once more. Confront the Demon Antelope tribe. War is cruel, full of deceit. After the negotiations between Gu Qijue and War Marshal Holmes concluded, he returned to the Infinite Empire and immediately entered the holographic conference room. Southern Emperor and God of Brightness, as well as Emperor Luo and Lilybell Emperor, were all waiting here for the negotiation results. The negotiation results Gu Qijue brought back would clearly surprise everyone. Gu Qijue said, War Marshal Holmes of the Demon Antelope tribe wants to engage in limited warfare and trade with us simultaneously. Everyone sitting here was intelligent. The moment Gu Qijue spoke, they immediately understood the gist of the situation. After a long silence, Emperor Luo was the first to speak. This is already the best outcome. Either join the Dark Emperor civilization or join the Lick civilization. If we don't join either of these two camps, we can only be eliminated by them. We just don't know how to conduct limited warfare and trade. The Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization are evenly matched, and other forces clearly have no need to exhaust their resources for the dominant struggle between these two behemoths. Even if the Dark Emperor civilization ultimately wins, the severely damaged Star Cluster Alliance, as a member of the victorious side, wouldn't gain much benefit. They might even be wiped out by forces within their own camp. Under these circumstances, preserving the overall strength of the Star Cluster Alliance is the absolute top priority. Gu Qijue did not hide anything and truthfully relayed the intelligence Holmes had given him. War Marshal Holmes will deploy a large number of war machines, numerous criminal legions, and many temporarily recruited space pirates to fight us. The fighting forces mentioned above account for 90% of the Demon Antelope tribe's combat units. The remaining 10% are the Demon Antelope tribe's true elite combat units. Excluding the Demon Antelope tribe's direct elite forces, all other combat units can die in battle. These words were cruel, but war is inherently cruel and terrifying. This is the main theme of war. Emperor Luo and the others fell silent this time. However, the silence didn't last long. And Emperor Luo spoke, voicing his thoughts. Holmes intends to use us as cannon fodder and simultaneously train his troops. The Luo-Lan alliance is fundamentally composed of space pirates, theoretically. They could all be sent to be cannon fodder against them. However, the Luo-Lan alliance's casualties in this campaign cannot exceed 20%. We can purge some utterly evil criminals, and incidentally, clean out some disobedient individuals. As for the others, even if they are space pirates, it's impossible to send them all to be cannon fodder. Regarding war machines, the Luo-Lan alliance actually has quite a large inventory. We can commit 10% of our war machines to the battlefield. In this way, the Luo-Lan alliance would bear about 30% of the losses in this campaign. The remaining 60% of the losses would need to be borne by the Star Cluster alliance. Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor's expressions were slightly tense at this moment. If the Star Cluster alliance disagreed, a rift would appear in the cooperation between the Luo-Lan alliance and the Star Cluster alliance. The cooperation between the Star Cluster alliance and the Demon Antelope tribe would also be impossible to finalize. While Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor were nervous, Gu Qijue said quite casually, "The Star Cluster alliance can contribute 50% of the war machines and 10% of the criminal legions. Furthermore, the Star Cluster alliance and the Luo-Lan alliance will each contribute 5% of their direct elite forces to engage in a major battle with the Demon Antelope tribe." Gu Qijue's words allowed Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor to breathe a sigh of relief. God of Brightness and Southern Emperor also had no major objections. The Star Cluster alliance is quite wealthy, and manufacturing a large number of war machines to fight on the battlefield poses no problem. After these matters were finalized, Gu Qijue continued. This plan benefits all three parties, but it has two problems. First, will the Lick civilization interfere? Second, will the Dark Emperor civilization interfere? Although their three parties are continuously engaged in fierce fighting. But if the Demon Antelope tribe is delayed in eliminating the Star Cluster alliance and the Luo-Lan alliance, will the Lick civilization send reinforcements? Conversely, if the Dark Emperor civilization sees the battle here fall into a stalemate, will they send reinforcements? The four people in the conference room understood Gu Qijue's concerns. Everyone also knew that these two problems were unavoidable. They would definitely have to face them once the war progressed to a certain extent. After pondering for a moment, Emperor Luo smiled. For now, this is the best outcome. As for how long we can hide it, that's actually not important. A battle like this benefits all three of us for every day it continues. The loss of war machines is negligible to us. Damage to a very small number of combat units is also within the tolerance of all three parties. In contrast, elsewhere, if they cannot form this kind of tacit understanding, then the two major powers from different camps can only fight to the death. What I truly worry about is whether War Marshal Holmes has other schemes. Emperor Luo's ability to become one of the two leaders of the Luo-Lan alliance clearly shows he is capable. The other four had naturally considered the issue he was worried about. But this kind of thing inherently carries risks, no one can say for sure. After a brief silence, Gu Qijue spoke, breaking the quiet. We can prepare in two ways. On one hand, prepare for total war preparation, to prevent the Demon Antelope tribe from feigning cooperation and suddenly launching a full-scale attack while we drop our guard. On the other hand, proceed according to the plan. The destruction of war machines is entirely within the tolerance of both our sides. For the Star Cluster alliance, sending death row inmates to the battlefield is giving them a chance to atone for their sins. If these people die for the Star Cluster alliance, the Star Cluster alliance will provide maximum care for their relatives. The other four magnates agreed with Gu Qijue's words. After the meeting concluded, everyone began deploying according to Gu Qijue's plan. They prepared for limited warfare on one hand, and total war on the other. Homes of the Demon Antelope tribe did the same thing as the Star Cluster alliance and the Luo-Lan alliance. If the Star Cluster alliance and the Luo-Lan alliance let down their guard, he would sweep in like a tiger and devour both of them in one go. Conversely, he would act according to the original agreement. On the battlefield, there is only life and death. If victory can be achieved, everything else can be discarded. So-called agreements are merely a few pieces of scrap paper. If the enemy says that a person cannot stand without trust, then cut off the enemy's head, and they won't say it again. Although Gu Qijue really wanted to enter the Zhan-Tian universe and snowball his strength, he couldn't leave easily until the matter of the Sacred Mark universe was resolved. The vast majority of people in the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo-Lan Alliance became extremely nervous. Apart from the 6 supreme leaders of the three parties, No one else knew about the special agreements between the two sides. For everyone, the terrifying war had descended once again. Although what was initially sent to the front lines were various war machines made of metal. But once these war machines are used up, will they have to go to the battlefield too? End of chapter 453. The Necropolis, the value of intelligent necromancers. The worries of the masses were not necessarily excessive. Before the war between the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lich civilization completely ended, fighting in other regions would not cease. The Star Cluster Alliance had fought the Klein people for a long time previously, deeply understanding the terror and pain of war. After learning that the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance had gone to war with the Demon Antelope tribe, Gu Qijue and the others faced widespread condemnation. Of course, there were also many who understood the situation. These people knew that, under the general trend of events, such a war was unavoidable. The true capability of the Star Cluster Alliance leaders, such as Gu Qijue, depended on how much strength they could preserve for the Alliance. If they could not only preserve a large amount of strength for the Star Cluster Alliance, but also lead its development even in this difficult environment, then Gu Qijue, Southern Emperor, God of Brightness, and the others might achieve immense, perhaps even the highest, glory in the history of the Star Cluster Alliance. After the war began, everyone else was filled with anxiety. The high-level officials of the three parties, the Star Cluster Alliance, the Luo Lan Alliance, and the Demon Antelope tribe, let out a long sigh of relief. At least for now, all three parties shared a tacit understanding. Although they had started the war, they were conducting a war with limited casualties. Doing this provided a justifiable explanation to both the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lich civilization. The intensity of the fighting on this battlefield was not much lower than on other fronts. Unless the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lich civilization sent out supervision teams for prolonged observation, they would not notice anything amiss. Although everything had proceeded according to plan, the God of Brightness still quickly invited Gu Qijue and the Southern Emperor to a meeting. Gu Qijue really did not want to attend a meeting now, since the situation in the Star Cluster Alliance was stable. He naturally wanted to go to the Zhan Tian universe to snowball his power, but since the God of Brightness had invited him, he had no choice but to go. In the holographic conference hall, the Star Cluster Alliance's three giants gathered once more. The God of Brightness wasted no time. As soon as Gu Qijue and the Southern Emperor appeared, he spoke directly. Our current response can only be considered a temporary delaying tactic. Even in such a difficult situation, we must still find a way to develop and grow stronger. Only by continuously improving our own strength can we have the last laugh in this tide of events. Do the two of you have any thoughts on this? Hearing this, the Southern Emperor did not speak, instead looking directly at Gu Qijue. Although she had some ideas, Gu Qijue was undoubtedly more skilled in this area. Gu Qijue did not disappoint the Southern Emperor or the God of Brightness, immediately stating his strategy: develop internally, break out externally. With sincere cooperation among all parties in the Star Cluster Alliance, technological progress in all areas has been rapid. Many research projects continue to achieve breakthroughs. Next, we can further deepen cooperation. This will ensure the technological level of the Star Cluster Alliance is maintained at an extremely high standard. To achieve this goal, the Star Cluster Alliance must cultivate its own talent while also importing talent from outside. The Southern Emperor and the God of Brightness nodded in agreement. This was something the Star Cluster Alliance had been doing, but they now needed to commit to it even more. Gu Qijue quickly continued speaking. The main purpose of breaking out externally is voluntary exploration and the establishment of new forces. If something happens to the Star Cluster Alliance headquarters, this gives us a path of retreat. If the Star Cluster Alliance remains safe, we can supply resources to these subordinate forces, helping them grow rapidly. As long as these continuously developing armed forces remain firmly under the control of the Star Cluster Alliance, then, even in such a difficult environment, the Star Cluster Alliance will continue to develop and grow stronger. The 8 characters Gu Qijue spoke this time satisfied both the Southern Emperor and the God of Brightness greatly. Both believed that Gu Qijue's strategy was highly feasible and should be implemented immediately, but neither of them knew that Gu Qijue and the Infinite Empire were playing a different game than everyone else. As long as the Infinite Empire was not completely destroyed, it would continue to progress. Without anyone else realizing it, Gu Qijue had already obtained vast resources in the Snow Mountain territory. Even the Spirit Clan clone, which previously only received investment without yielding output, After successfully entering a spirit race minor world, it also brought Gu Qijue great benefits. After the meeting of the three giants concluded, Gu Qijue returned to the Infinite Empire and began secluded cultivation to charge toward S rank. The leap from A rank to S rank is enormous. Gu Qijue did not plan on achieving S rank in a short amount of time. Once he became an S rank universe-level powerhouse, he could even consider completely wiping out Holmes's combat forces. The Demon Antelope tribe choosing to engage in a sham war with the Star Cluster Alliance like this was definitely based on considerations of their own interests. The high-level members of the Demon Antelope tribe might even view the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance as livestock they were raising. Currently, the Demon Antelope tribe is fighting on multiple fronts and cannot attend to other matters. Once they free up their hands, they can completely eliminate the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance. The Demon Antelope tribe has 9 major war divisions, and the one currently fighting the Star Cluster Alliance is only the weakest among them. If all 9 divisions of the Demon Antelope tribe arrived, the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance would 100% be unable to withstand them. Although no such trend has appeared yet, Gu Qijue felt that the Demon Antelope tribe was very likely to do this. Therefore, his main body needed to rapidly charge toward S rank, while his clone needed to acquire as many resources as possible in the Zhantian universe. The best method would be for him to possess a large number of ice dragon clones, establishing territories in the Zhantian universe and acting as a hands-off manager. Unfortunately, there are very few areas in the Zhantian universe suitable for this kind of operation. If he randomly chose a place to develop a territory, it could easily be destroyed by wanderers or the slave race of the Zhantian clan. Even if it could withstand the attacks of the Wanderers and the Zhantian clan's slave race, it would likely attract the Zhantian clan itself, although the Snow Mountain territory has been developing for a long time. However, the Snow Mountain territory is still vulnerable when facing the Zhantian clan. The main reason the Snow Mountain territory has developed safely until now is that the location is too remote and holds little value for the Zhantian clan. When Gu Qijue's consciousness returned to the Spirit Clan clone, he found himself in a city, to be precise. He was inside a castle. His massive mental energy swept out and spread in all directions. He then discovered that Vivian had found a stronghold for the undead legion she was given. This place could be considered a good spot, because deep underground, there were numerous fragmented necromantic crystal ore veins. When the undead legion fought in this ancient castle, their combat power would be explosive. With every passing breath, the many undead warriors of the Undead Legion were slowly improving. This proves that intelligent undead are indeed different. It was completely correct to hand the Undead Legion over to Vivian for command. Gu Qijue discovered that surrounding and attacking the ancient castle were still those annoying wanderers. End of chapter 454. Instantly kills a D-rank rogue, dominates the entire arena. Wanderers and the Zhantian clan are both enemies of the myriad race beings. For the Zhantian clan, Wanderers should be eliminated even more than the myriad race beings. This is because Wanderers do not participate in production labor or the creation of the Zhantian universe's overall wealth. They are parasites of the Zhantian universe, contributing nothing to its development. If the Zhantian clan discovers myriad race beings, as long as these beings are valuable and willing to submit, they will be spared. If they encounter Wanderers, they are 100% guaranteed to be beheaded. Within the Zhantian clan, there is an explicit rule: Wanderers must be completely exterminated, leaving none alive. Given this background, Wanderers and myriad race beings should, logically, have some basis for cooperation. But these Wanderers are truly hateful. They almost always strike fiercely against the myriad race beings. It is simply impossible to get them to cooperate with myriad race beings to fight the Zhantian clan. Gu Qijue's consciousness descended upon his Spirit Clan clone, and after observing briefly with his mental energy, he left the rest area. Along the way, many soldiers of the Undead Legion saluted Gu Qijue upon seeing him. Their existence depended solely on a single thought from Gu Qijue. Gu Qijue arrived at the city wall and found a large number of residual formations on the ancient fortress. Among the Undead Legion, the very few undead who understood formations were currently busy repairing them. The remaining majority of the undead were standing by in strict formation. If the Wanderers broke through the outer defenses, they would immediately enter the battle. Vivian, the Usura Necromancer, and the Kobold Necromancer all appeared behind Gu Qijue at this moment. Even Lin Maioyan and the Minotaur Necromancer quickly came over after seeing Gu Qijue. Teacher. Lin Maioyan called out respectfully as she came up behind Gu Qijue. Gu Qijue nodded slightly, his gaze fixed on the wanderers continuously attacking the ancient fortress nearby. After pondering for a moment, he casually asked Vivian, "Can this place be developed into a territory?" "No," Vivian answered very straightforwardly. However, she then added, "Unless Master can destroy the nearby Zhantian clan outpost." Gu Qijue continued to ask, "How many Zhantian clan members are nearby?" 5,000, Vivian stated, a precise number, if Gu Qijue's main body were here. Even if he were only C-rank cosmic level, killing 5,000 Zhantian clan members would pose no difficulty. The Ice Dragon clone and the Spirit Clan clone do not possess such fighting power. The Ice Dragon clone is a weakened version of the main body, merely more skilled in ice attribute power than the main body, although the Spirit Clan clone is flashy and possesses many marvelous abilities. But the Spirit Clan clone's fighting power is far from being able to sweep away thousands of troops, although he has other undead under his command. Aside from Vivian and a few other powerful undead, the rest are completely vulnerable before the Zhantian clan. If he wants to establish a territory in this place, he must find another way to eliminate those 5,000 Zhantian clan members. Although he cannot deal with those 5,000 Zhantian clan members right now, resolving the wanderers besieging the ancient fortress is completely manageable. Gu Qijue did not bother being polite with these wanderers, his figure moved, and he charged toward the crowd of wanderers. Many wanderers were using their divine abilities to fight the surrounding undead, just as the battle was in full swing. Some wanderers caught sight of Gu Qijue out of the corner of their eyes. Before Gu Qijue could act, a wanderer who had just finished off a common undead immediately attacked him. These particular wanderers did not sense how powerful Gu Qijue was. They even treated Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone as an ordinary undead warrior. Boom! A wanderer's eyes suddenly opened, and two searing beams of light shot out from his pupils. He imagined that these two searing beams of light could instantly kill the unprepared Gu Qijue, but he was wrong, terribly wrong. His killing move missed Gu Qijue. Gu Qijue, having transformed into black smoke, appeared behind him and simultaneously severed his neck. The wanderer's head was held in Gu Qijue's hand, looking like a searchlight. This was because the searing light beams shooting out of the opponent's eyes had not immediately vanished. Gu Qijue even used the searing light beams shooting from the opponent's eyes to sever the arm of a muscular wanderer. The muscular man turned back and furiously shouted, "Red Eye, what the hell are you doing?" Red Eye certainly couldn't pull a trick. He wasn't Ning Kachin. How could he be causing trouble? Not only couldn't he cause trouble, but he himself had turned into a ghost. The burly wanderer who had lost an arm was named Xingquang. After Xingquang turned around angrily, his eyes instantly became crystal clear. Red Eye, who was also a D-rank cosmic-level warrior, had now separated from his body. His body was stiff on the side, and his head was being held by an unfamiliar, powerful expert. Gu Qijue's instantaneous killing of Red Eye in a single encounter alarmed all the wanderers. Such strength made all the wanderers wary. Many D-rank wanderers abandoned their continued slaughter of common undead and appeared around Gu Qijue. Xingquang watched Gu Qijue warily while taking a cluster of glowing green light from his storage treasure artifact and placing it on his severed arm. His severed arm began to recover within moments. Not only did he regrow an arm, but the newly grown arm was of the same strength as the original. This ensured that his combat power would not decrease due to replacing it with a new arm. Generally, after limb rebirth, the strength of the new arm is not as great as the original. The situation where a new arm is stronger than the original has only happened once throughout history. Bu Jingyun, who gained a kill-in arm, after Xingquang's arm recovered. He pulled out a long-handled warhammer, looked at Gu Qijue, and asked, "Who are you?" Although Gu Qijue was here to kill, he didn't humorously reply, "A killer," but acted immediately. His figure turned into a burst of black smoke and vanished into thin air. The next moment, he appeared behind another D-rank cosmic-level warrior. Xingquang opened his mouth, wanting to warn the other person to be careful, but he swallowed the words back, realizing there was no need, even if he spoke. The opponent might not hear him. The moment Gu Qijue appeared behind this D-rank cosmic-level warrior, he executed a hand chop, and the person's head was held in his hand. Although wanderers claimed to disregard their lives, being bloodthirsty, warlike, and fearless of death, that was merely a claim, not the actual truth. Just like now, upon seeing that Gu Qijue possessed the power to instantly kill D-rank wanderers, these bloodthirsty, warlike, and reckless wanderers instantly transformed into pacifists who fear harming ants when sweeping the floor and cherish moths by shielding the lamp. Your Excellency, spare us, Xing Kuang and the others decisively admitted defeat and submitted, facing a terrifying expert like Gu Qijue. Opposing him would only lead them to their doom. End of chapter 455. A bizarre mask, an S-rank battle puppet has been acquired. Gu Qijue was originally prepared to kill Xing Kuang and the others, as he was about to make his move. He changed his mind. He looked at Xing Kuang and the others and said, "I can give you a chance to live. Go attack the Zhantian clan's stronghold." Hearing the first half of Gu Qijue's sentence, everyone thought they really had a chance to live. It was only when they heard the second half that they realized Gu Qijue was deliberately making things difficult for them. They weren't even enough to fill the Zhantian clan's teeth. Moreover, the Zhantian clan deeply hated the Wanderers. If their hatred for myriad race beings was a 10, their hatred for them was 100. Without Xing Kuang and the others needing to speak, Gu Qijue already knew their decision. So, his figure once again turned into black smoke and vanished, and the head of another D-rank wanderer disappeared from its neck. "Run!" Xing Kuang immediately stopped hesitating and shouted, telling everyone to escape together. As Xing Kuang fled, his mental energy kept an eye on the rear. Everyone scattered and fled. Gu Qijue definitely couldn't chase after all of them at once, although Gu Qijue's strength was formidable. He was, after all, only one person. If he escaped this time, he would inform the Zhantian clan about the situation in this ancient castle. No matter how strong Gu Qijue was, once the Zhantian clan came, he would be dead. However, Xing Kuang soon witnessed an extremely terrifying scene. Gu Qijue's figure once again transformed into black smoke. Unlike before, this time Gu Qijue turned into billowing black smoke that enveloped the entire battlefield. Many wanderers who were frantically fleeing a moment ago instantly entered a rigid state, like straight for life, and fell to the ground. Their lives had already vanished with the wind. Their spirit bodies, on the other hand, became members of the undead legion. Xing Kuang was scared out of his wits. He had already realized that this was an extremely vast and terrifying domain. As for being in this domain, there was always the possibility of having one's life taken away at any moment. Xing Kuang wanted to quickly rush out of this domain, but an unprecedented sense of weakness quickly assailed him. His eyelids grew heavier and heavier. His body became increasingly tired and weak, and he just wanted to have a good sleep. Then, like the other wanderers, he entered a rigid state and died instantly. On the battlefield, vast undead energy swept through. Under Gu Qijue's control, his undead legion members rushed out, greedily absorbing the undead energy to enhance themselves. The spirits of some wanderers did not collapse and turn into undead energy. They, too, joined the other undead, greedily absorbing undead energy, constantly growing stronger. After Gu Qijue instantly ended the battle, he thought to himself, although the spirit clan clone doesn't have the same strong individual combat ability as the main body, it can still effortlessly overpower ants. There were many D-rank wanderers on the battlefield just now. Under the shroud of his death domain, their lives rapidly drained away, then they stiffened and died. After dealing with all these ants, Gu Qijue noticed a special item. It was a black mask, and this mask was also frantically devouring the surrounding undead energy at this moment. "Come!" Gu Qijue raised his hand and beckoned, causing the black mask not far away to fly towards him. His mental energy then penetrated the black mask to investigate its condition. After carefully examining it with his mental energy for a moment, Gu Qijue discovered that this was a very useless treasure artifact. The name of this treasure artifact was the Eerie Mask. The function of the Eerie Mask was to turn a living being into a puppet of the mask's holder. The Eerie Mask would bestow eerie power upon the puppet, making the puppet unprecedentedly powerful. However, the way to awaken the puppet was for the eerie puppet to kill the mask holder. The mask holder, at the moment of death, could give commands to the eerie puppet. After the eerie puppet completed its command, it would fall into endless slaughter, until the eerie mask was fully charged or the eerie puppet was destroyed. Gu Qijue initially thought this thing was useless, because the cost of using it was to sacrifice oneself. But he soon realized that others couldn't use this thing, but he could. He could first use the sacred lion's secret scroll to create a clone, then sacrifice this clone to activate the mask. Afterward, he would reshape this clone, and the mask would 100% obey the holder's commands. In this way, he would get a powerful enforcer with explosive combat power. Thinking of this, Gu Qijue immediately acted. He first used the sacred lion's secret scroll to create a very ordinary water spirit clone to verify his hypothesis. A water spirit clone is a humanoid creature made of water element energy. After creating the water spirit clone, Gu Qijue placed the mask on the Asura necromancer. After the Asura necromancer put on the mask, it instantly erupted with terrifying S-rank power, and its entire body was immediately filled with an incredibly eerie and evil aura. Snap! Gu Qijue snapped his fingers, beginning to sacrifice the water spirit clone. The water spirit clone controlled the eerie puppet to kill itself, and at the same time gave commands to the eerie puppet. My command is, as long as I am not dead, you must 100% obey my orders. As soon as the water spirit clone finished speaking, it immediately transformed into a puff of black smoke and was devoured by the eerie puppet. After the mask holder died, the eerie puppet fully awakened. The command given to it by the water spirit clone was to obey the water spirit clone's commands, but the water spirit clone was already dead, so this command no longer existed. The eerie puppet's dark eyes instantly turned crimson, preparing to go on a killing spree. Buzz, unexpectedly at this very moment, Gu Qijue reshaped the water spirit clone using the sacred lion secret scroll. Once a clone was created, a template would remain. As long as the clone died, an identical clone could be reshaped using the template. It turned out that the sacred lion secret scroll was not joking. The water spirit clone reshaped by the sacred lion secret scroll was indeed the holder of the eerie mask and could perfectly control the eerie puppet. For a moment, Gu Qijue could barely hide the smile on his face. He had struck it rich this time, effortlessly gaining a powerful S-rank universe-level enforcer. It would be very difficult for him to sweep through the Zhantian clan's stronghold, but this task was not too difficult for the eerie puppet. However, the resurrection of the water spirit clone caused the eerie puppet's crimson eyes to turn dark again. Its terrifying aura, which was at the S-rank peak, reverted to S-rank early stage. This made Gu Qijue understand that, when necessary, he could sacrifice the water spirit clone to give commands to the eerie puppet, and at the same time, make the eerie puppet enter a berserk state. Vivian and the kobold necromancer now came to Gu Qijue's side, looking at him with great fear. The kobold necromancer was fine, it only had combat intelligence, no other intelligence, and no emotions. Vivian's pretty face, however, was uglier than crying, afraid that Gu Qijue would just hand her an eerie mask and turn her into an eerie puppet, just like the Asura necromancer. Gu Qijue saw through her thoughts and casually comforted her. The Asura necromancer has no emotions and no intelligence beyond combat, it is inherently a combat puppet. You possess all emotions and complete intelligence. A special life form, I would not do that to you. End of chapter 456, Shadowy Stealth, the imprisoned and mysterious god, inside the ancient castle. Gu Qijue began studying his eerie puppet with great interest. It was unknown who created the treasure artifact, the eerie mask. However, this treasure artifact was truly sinister. Every time it was used, it required sacrificing the holder's life. This meant that under normal circumstances, everyone could only use this treasure artifact once in their lifetime. If Gu Qijue didn't possess the divine artifact, the sacred lion secret scroll, he wouldn't be able to reuse the eerie mask. After performing a comprehensive scan and analysis of the eerie puppet using the infinite engine, Gu Qijue had gained a sufficient understanding of the eerie puppet. In the S-rank early stage, the eerie puppet was capable of sweeping away all opposition. As long as the death spirit energy was sufficient, the eerie puppet could easily crush the Zhantian clan members of the same rank. Gu Qijue had already intended to make a move against the Zhantian clan, and with the eerie puppet as a powerful enforcer, he prepared to put the matter on the agenda. However, scouting the Zhantian clan's stronghold before taking action was still very necessary. Gu Qijue immediately ordered Vivian, "You all stay behind at the ancient castle. The eerie puppet and I will go scout the actual situation of the Zhantian clan's stronghold." Vivian bowed, "As you command." Gu Qijue wasted no time, taking the eerie puppet and transforming into 2 wisps of black smoke, approaching the Zhantian clan's stronghold. Gradually approaching the Zhantian clan's stronghold, Gu Qijue unexpectedly discovered that the death energy near the stronghold was extremely dense. At first, Gu Qijue was puzzled and couldn't figure out why this situation occurred. As he got closer and closer to the Zhantian clan's stronghold, Gu Qijue instantly realized the truth. The reason the death spirit energy in this area was so dense was not without cause. There were large numbers of mass graves surrounding the Zhantian clan's stronghold. If the myriad race beings who resisted the Zhantian clan refused to surrender, then these mass graves would be where they belonged. This Zhantian clan stronghold was completely surrounded by mass graves. Nobody knew how many myriad race beings the Zhantian clan had slaughtered in this place. Gu Qijue and the eerie puppet turned into two plumes of black smoke and arrived near the mass graves, not entering the Zhantian clan's stronghold directly, but hiding in place. Gu Qijue realized at this moment that the infinite engine was extremely useful for dealing with technologically advanced civilizations. However, against a civilization like the Zhantian clan, which disregarded technology, the infinite engine faced considerable limitations. If the Zhantian clan were a technological civilization, the infinite engine could directly hack into all the technological equipment in their stronghold, thereby grasping the general situation of the Zhantian clan's stronghold. But the Zhantian clan members rarely used technology, and even rarely used treasure artifacts. Their formidable physiques allowed them to accomplish everything they wanted, so they didn't need to rely on external forces. At this moment, Gu Qijue happened to see a group of werewolves returning to the Zhantian clan's stronghold. These werewolves were not Zhantian clan prisoners, but Zhantian clan slaves, who could freely enter and exit the Zhantian clan's stronghold. Gu Qijue immediately did not hesitate, taking the eerie puppet and transforming into wisps of smoke, merging into the werewolves' shadows. The strength of the Spirit Clan clone was far inferior to his main body at the same rank. However, the Spirit Clan clone possessed various flashy and exotic abilities that his main body temporarily lacked. The many werewolves did not notice any change in their shadows. Since Gu Qijue and the eerie puppet were of a higher rank, the werewolves couldn't directly sense the Tao. The moment this group of werewolves entered the Zhantian clan station, a Zhantian clan expert suddenly locked onto one werewolf. You. Stop! The reason Wu Tu locked onto this werewolf was that he sensed a slight anomaly on it. Upon hearing this, the werewolf immediately stopped. Being a slave of the Zhantian clan was an extremely humiliating matter. However, as long as they mastered a certain way of survival, they could live relatively comfortably. For example, if the Zhantian clan said east, they would absolutely not say west. Just like now, the werewolf's attitude of instantly stopping satisfied Wu Tu greatly. Wu Tu stared closely at the werewolf and asked, "Why do you have the chi of the Death Clan on you? What were you doing before?" The werewolf immediately replied, "Reporting to my lord. This subordinate also doesn't know why I am tainted with the chi of the Death Clan. We were patrolling the surrounding mass graves earlier." Hearing this, Wu Tu nodded slightly. "Go inside." He felt that this werewolf was strange, but he couldn't find where the problem lay. As for someone being hidden in the werewolf's shadow, Wu Tu hadn't considered it. After Wu Tu, this werewolf encountered several more inspections. Although the Zhantian clan were battle maniacs whose muscles grew into their brains, they were quite vigilant. It wasn't that none of these Zhantian clan experts inspected the werewolf's shadow. Unfortunately, their means of detection were limited, and they didn't find anything unusual in the werewolf's shadow. It was just that these Zhantian clan experts would appear at any moment to inspect the werewolf, making both Gu Qijue and the eerie puppet dare not reveal themselves. Gu Qijue realized that although his Spirit Clan clone had many methods, the tactics previously used against the Klein people could not be used against the Zhantian clan. The Zhantian clan didn't need surveillance, because all of them were walking surveillance cameras. Just a dozen Zhantian clan experts could monitor every disturbance within the entire stronghold. Gu Qijue had no choice but to follow the werewolf to the basement. The place where the werewolves lived was the Zhantian clan's dungeon. These werewolves had two functions in this stronghold. One function was patrolling the perimeter of the stronghold, and the other was guarding the ordinary prisoners in the dungeon. The Zhantian clan didn't completely slaughter every myriad race being. For some talented individuals among the myriad race beings, they chose to enslave them and make them work for the Zhantian clan. Gu Qijue had originally planned to find an opportunity in the dungeon to inquire about intelligence concerning this stronghold. Suddenly, a voice rang out in his mind. "Who are you? Why have you taken control of a portion of my power?" Gu Qijue was stunned for a moment. After careful sensing, he felt a trace of power originating from the same source as the eerie mask. He immediately understood that an old monster seemed to be imprisoned here. Gu Qijue immediately communicated with the other party in his mind. "And who are you?" After he asked this question, the previous voice let out a bout of strange laughter. After a long time, the other party finally spoke. "Interesting. You temporarily control a wisp of my power using a strange method. Yet you don't know who I am. I am the god of eeriness. They also call me the eerie god lord, or the evil god. Do you know who I am now?" Gu Qijue spoke honestly. "No." He wasn't joking with this big shot, he truly had never heard of the other party. His words immediately rendered the eerie god lord silent. After a good while, the eerie god lord finally recovered and said, "Come to the place where I am imprisoned, I want to make a deal with you." 457, immortal and indestructible, the method for refining sacred crystals. Ordinary people might not dare to approach the eerie god lord. But Gu Qijue had the courage and a great deal of it. Without hesitation, he asked, "Where are you imprisoned and how do I get there?" The eerie god lord said, "Follow my guidance." As soon as he finished speaking, Gu Qijue indeed felt a trace of special eerie power. Gu Qijue immediately took the eerie puppet and followed the other party's guidance. With the other party's help, Gu Qijue passed through numerous powerful formations and appeared in an underground space. Then he saw the thing that had communicated with him earlier, a drop of blood filled with evil aura, trapped inside a crystal cup. Gu Qijue asked curiously, "Is this your main body?" Hearing this, the eerie god lord sneered, and an image was condensed and presented before Gu Qijue. Through this image, Gu Qijue learned exactly what level of existence this entity was. This eerie god lord was actually an SSR rank powerhouse. The entity had done something that incurred the wrath of heaven and resentment of men, leading to them being hunted down by more than 10 experts of the same rank. After severely injuring 3 people, he himself was also severely wounded. His physical body was completely shattered, and his origin was divided into an unknown number of portions, sea-led throughout the Zhantian universe. For the first time, Gu Qijue learned that once one reached SSR rank, it was extremely difficult to kill them. Just like the eerie god lord, who was sliced into 1,000 pieces and dismembered by numerous experts of the same rank, yet still did not die. They could only seal him up, allow his power to weaken, and let him drop below SSR rank before he could be killed. Gu Qijue also learned that War Heaven Stone was originally the materials used by those experts to create the crystal Holy Grail. The War Heaven Stone could be further refined to obtain a type of material called Sacred Crystal. The people of the Zhantian universe, as well as the Infinite Empire, were unable to achieve this step because their strength was insufficient. The races of the Zhantian universe were fundamentally unable to utilize this valuable resource. The Infinite Empire, however, took an unconventional approach, adding other materials to the War Heaven Stone, turning it into Zhantian alloy. Even after learning that the eerie god lord was an SSR rank expert, Gu Qijue was not intimidated. He was still thinking about how to utilize this old fellow. He immediately asked the Infinite Engine, "Can I refine him? Or control him in some other way?" The Infinite Engine did not immediately give an answer. This question seemed to be beyond its scope. Scanning and analyzing, please wait. Although Gu Qijue did nothing, the eerie god lord's drop of origin still exclaimed in surprise, "What are you doing? What kind of method is this?" He clearly sensed the Infinite Engine's scanning and analysis of him, but he did not know what the Infinite Engine was. Gu Qijue ignored the eerie god lord's question and instead asked, "You previously said you wanted to make a transaction with me." The voice of the eerie god lord came from that drop of blood. "Yes," Gu Qijue asked. "What transaction?" The eerie god lord's origin blood this time transformed into an arrogant face. He looked at the eerie puppet beside Gu Qijue and said, "Use the materials used to refine that kind of mask to help me refine a physical body. Furthermore, help me find 10 drops of origin blood and release me from the Holy Grail." Speaking of this, the eerie god lord curiously asked, "How did you break the crystal Holy Grail?" The crystal Holy Grail was extremely difficult to break, unless an SSR rank expert made a move. There was no chance, but Gu Qijue was not an SSR rank expert. This meant that the person who refined the mask treasure artifact was either someone else, or Gu Qijue possessed some special method capable of breaking the crystal Holy Grail. Gu Qijue did not answer the eerie god lord's question, but instead said, "If I let you out, what benefit do I gain?" Letting the eerie god lord out was impossible. If even one drop of the opponent's blood was this powerful, letting him escape his predicament would undoubtedly be terrifying. He was waiting for the Infinite Engine's analysis result. If he couldn't control the eerie god lord, he wouldn't help this old monster escape. The opponent was an existence capable of traversing universes with his physical body. Once he escaped, not only would the Zhantian universe be ruined by him, he was also very likely to attack the Sacred Mark universe and destroy it as well. After a while, the Infinite Engine provided a solution. You can attempt to use the Sacred Lion's Secret Scroll to transform the opponent into a clone. If the transformation fails, you currently cannot control him. The eerie God Lord's rank was too high, leaving the Infinite Engine feeling somewhat powerless. However, the Infinite Engine indeed came up with a good idea. The Sacred Lion's secret scroll could transform any substance into his clone. Through the Sacred Lion's secret scroll, he could perfectly control the clone. Gu Qijue immediately wasted no time and began using a trace of the eerie God Lord's blood to create a clone. The shocked voice of the eerie God Lord sounded once again. "Who exactly are you? Why can you draw out this god's power even through the Holy Grail seal?" Gu Qijue did not answer the eerie God Lord's question, but he realized the terror of the eerie God Lord once more. The clone he created by extracting a trace of the eerie God Lord's power was actually C-rank cosmic level. Not far from Gu Qijue, an eerie clone appeared. Once this clone was fully formed, the eerie clone began to laugh maniacally. "Ha ha ha ha, this god is free." After speaking, he looked at Gu Qijue and the eerie puppet with killing intent and said coldly, "Two ants who dare to steal this god's power die." As his voice fell, he transformed into an afterimage and charged towards Gu Qijue. However, he only took one step before his body became completely motionless. Gu Qijue was overjoyed this time. The Sacred Lion's secret scroll truly lived up to its reputation as a universe-level treasure artifact, capable of unreasonably dominating the eerie God Lord. Of course, the eerie God Lord also lived up to his status as an SSR rank powerhouse. Even after being refined by the Sacred Lion's secret scroll, his consciousness was not extinguished. As long as Gu Qijue did not control the eerie clone, the eerie God Lord could control the eerie clone. The eerie God Lord instantly understood his situation, but he was not worried. Instead, he said, "Ant, I can lend you my power to use. Continue using this method to collect as much of this god's origin blood as possible." The eerie God Lord had already figured out that Gu Qijue possessed a supreme treasure that could control his power. However, this control had limits. Once that limit was surpassed, the supreme treasure would be unable to control him, and he would regain his freedom. Warning: the Sacred Lion's secret scroll can only control clones with SSS rank power. Do not let him recover to SSR rank. The Infinite Engine detected the problem and immediately issued a warning to Gu Qijue. Gu Qijue kept this in mind. He would stop the transformation of the eerie clone once it reached SSS rank. The peak combat strength of the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization were both SSS rank. If he allowed the eerie clone to advance to SSS rank, he wouldn't need to worry about the Dark Emperor civilization or the Lick civilization. End of chapter 458. The Sealer's Backup Plan, Controlling Uncanny Powers, in the Underground Space. The power of the eerie God Lord was being refined and transformed by the Sacred Lion's secret scroll little by little. After some time, the drop of origin blood from the eerie God Lord, sealed by the crystal Holy Grail, completely transformed into Gu Qijue's eerie clone. The power from the eerie God Lord within the eerie mask also returned to the eerie clone's body. This caused the eerie puppet, which had evolved from the Aurora necromancer, to die upon its debut. Gu Qijue had even specially created a water spirit clone for him to sacrifice. It turned out that the eerie mask only contained a drop of the eerie God Lord's origin blood. The original Aurora necromancer, having lost the eerie God Lord's power, transformed into a ball of black mist. Gu Qijue immediately reshaped the Aurora necromancer with necromantic energy. As for the water spirit clone, specially created for sacrifice, it turned into pure energy and returned to the Sacred Lion's secret scroll. After the fusion of the eerie God Lord's 2 drops of blood, his strength did not skyrocket. He remained at S rank. However, the current eerie clone should be in a state of minor invincibility among S rank cultivators. Ordinary S rank powerhouses are definitely not his match. "Kid, release your control over me." The voice of the eerie God Lord came from the eerie clone's mouth. This is the true value of an SSR rank big shot, even if he's so reckless that only 2 drops of blood remain. His consciousness cannot be extinguished. Gu Qijue calmly said, "Eerie from now on. You need to call me leader." Although he knew the eerie God Lord was once a big shot, but now the other party is just a phoenix that has lost its feathers. So there's no need to worship the eerie God Lord. "HMPH?" The eerie God Lord scoffed, ignoring Gu Qijue. Instead, he continued, "Kid, only this god can use this power to its maximum extent. Your forced use of this god's power is like using a rocket launcher as a fire poker." The eerie God Lord's point of view was actually correct. Gu Qijue knew that the eerie clone was powerful, but he couldn't unleash its full potential. However, it didn't matter. He could just slowly explore the eerie clone's abilities. As for the eerie God Lord, Letting him speak and offer some reference opinions was enough. Allowing him to control the eerie clone was impossible. If the eerie god lord controlled the eerie clone, he would 100% try to kill Gu Qijue's spirit clan clone to break free from control. Unfortunately, his spirit clan clone was just a clone. The one truly controlling the eerie clone was his main body, holding the sacred lion's secret scroll in the sacred mark universe. Kid, what are you going to do next? The eerie god lord desperately wanted to control the eerie clone. However, the power controlling the eerie clone was very strange, and he couldn't break free from this control at all. Gu Qijue didn't answer, but instead asked, "What do you think I should do?" The eerie god lord said without hesitation. "Of course, you should go find this god lord's origin blood. As long as this god lord returns to the supreme rank of SSR rank, you can walk unhindered in all universes." The eerie god lord silently added in his heart, "Provided that you aren't hunted down by other supreme rank powerhouses." After all, the eerie god lord was torn to pieces precisely because he was too reckless, making enemies everywhere, which led to him being hunted down by a large number of supreme rank powerhouses. Gu Qijue knew that the eerie clone could only bear SSS rank power. Exceeding SSS rank, the eerie clone would lose control. Therefore, it was impossible for the eerie clone's power to recover to SSR rank, unless he could find some kind of supreme treasure even more powerful than the sacred lion's secret scroll. Furthermore, Gu Qijue didn't believe that the powerhouses who sealed the eerie god lord would leave no backup plan and allow the eerie god lord to escape. Compared to other matters, Gu Qijue felt this was the most important. He immediately asked the eerie god lord, "Did the powerhouses who sealed you leave any other backup plans to deal with you?" "Of course," the eerie god lord said without reservation. "What backup plan?" Gu Qijue's expression changed slightly, and he asked with a hint of nervousness. The eerie god lord was silent for a moment this time, then said, logically, "If my power appeared in any universe, those madmen would sense it. The person who refined the eerie mask stole my power a long time ago and refined one of my drops of origin blood to the greatest extent possible. So I speculate that those 8 madmen are either dead or have also been sealed. Or they encountered a more urgent situation. So even if I broke the seal and came out, they wouldn't be able to spare attention." Gu Qijue fully understood the eerie god lord's meaning. It was like someone lying on an operating table for surgery, and at that moment, they learned their beloved car had been scratched. At this point, he certainly couldn't tell the doctor to immediately stop the surgery because he needed to check the scratches on his beloved car first. If such a thing really happened, then after the person's surgery, they would be seamlessly transferred to a mental hospital. Gu Qijue felt that the 8 supreme SSR rank powerhouses couldn't just die so easily. Just like when they killed the eerie god lord, they couldn't easily kill him. They could only tear the eerie god lord to pieces and seal him, waiting for him to fall from the SSR rank realm. As long as the eerie god lord didn't fall from SSR rank to SSS rank, he was an immortal and indestructible existence. Even just a drop of origin blood contained his indestructible will. So, those 8 terrifying SSR rank existences, even if they encountered the worst situation, couldn't all be gone. At most they were sealed, just like the eerie god lord. Matters at that level were still too far away for Gu Qijue. He only needed to know now that using the eerie god lord's power wouldn't lead to him being justly executed by 8 SSR rank universe big shots. Gu Qijue thought seriously for a moment, then continued to look at the eerie clone and asked, "Do you have any other important information to tell me?" The eerie god lord was slightly silent, then said, "First, those 8 madmen were going to do something, and I disrupted it. I don't know what exactly it was." Gu Qijue frowned upon hearing this. There was a reason why the eerie god lord was torn to pieces. Nameless plays the Erhu at full health and acts recklessly when low on health. The eerie god lord fought 1 against 8 at full health, no. Not 1 against 7, but 1 against 8. The key was that he provoked 8 powerhouses of the same rank. He was simply outrageously reckless. The eerie god lord's voice soon continued. "Second, I currently cannot sense the aura of those 8 madmen, even if they're not dead. Their current state should be very bad." These 2 pieces of information provided by the eerie god lord were extremely important. Knowing this information, Gu Qijue could now use the eerie god lord's power with maximum reassurance. Gu Qijue then asked 2 more questions. What is the life course of a universe? Are there stronger existences above SSR rank? Please vote for recommendation tickets and monthly tickets. Thank you. End of this chapter 459, Bewitching the Divine Blood, Controlling the Abilities of the War God Clan. The eerie god lord answered both of Gu Qijue's questions. There are no existences above the SSR rank in the universe. Any living being, after reaching the SSR rank, can only accumulate quantity at this stage, without qualitative change. SSR rank experts are immortal and indestructible existences. However, if they are sealed for a long time and cannot absorb external power to compensate for minimum losses, they will eventually deplete their reserves. Under an incredibly long timescale, an SSR rank expert in this state will drop in rank. Once they return to the SSS rank, they can be easily killed. The eerie god lord stopped speaking at this point. He told Gu Qijue these things not to teach Gu Qijue how to kill an SSR rank expert. Rather, he suspected that the 8 lunatics who sealed him were not far from dropping in rank. This was a good thing, but also an extremely terrifying one. This meant that an unknown, terrifying expert had appeared, possessing the ability to quickly kill supreme existences. When the rabbit dies, the fox grieves, creatures mourn their own kind. The eerie god lord did not continue this heavy topic and instead said, "The life process of the universe is very simple. It is from birth to death. There are 2 types of universe birth, natural birth, which is the Big Bang. The other type is creation by a supreme existence. Regardless of the method, the universe will die unless a supreme existence constantly extends its life." The eerie god lord's statement was undoubtedly somewhat different from what Gu Qijue understood. As far as Gu Qijue knew, universes were divided into 3 types. One was an ordinary universe with limited lifespan, one was a semi-perfect universe with a long lifespan, and one was a perfect universe that existed eternally. He immediately asked, "I heard that a perfect universe capable of existing eternally exists." Hearing this, the eerie god lord sneered and said, "Every universe is a massive machine. The more perfectly the machine operates, the longer the universe exists. Matter and energy can be converted and cycled almost perfectly within this massive machine. However, this is only nearly perfect, so a supreme existence is needed to repair the machine or charge energy into the universe to extend its lifespan." The eerie god lord's words abruptly stopped, because the simplest and most convenient way to charge a perfect universe is to capture a few SSR rank experts and drain blood from them. The eerie god lord now suspected that the lunatics who sealed him were taken away to serve as batteries to maintain the operation of a high-rank universe. Gu Qijue did not know why the eerie god lord had suddenly fallen silent, but he had already learned enough advanced secret history this time and needed time to process it, so there was no need to ask further questions. But one thing was certain: the precision and complexity of the universe machine definitely far exceeded that of a chip. Since one cannot chop out a chip with an axe, it is even less possible to chop out a precisely operating universe. Gu Qijue felt that the secret history behind the disappearance of the SSR rank supreme experts was temporarily unrelated to him. What he needed to do now was still utilize the eerie god lord's power to eliminate the Zhantian clan at this outpost. Thinking of this, he directly said to the eerie god lord, "I plan to eliminate the Zhantian clan here, establish a territory, and then search for your origin blood." The eerie god lord immediately stopped him. "I can control these Zhantian clan members and make them search for other seal locations. Unless my other origin blood is very, very close to me, otherwise I cannot sense the existence of this origin blood. As long as I can recover to the SSS rank, I can control the vast majority of living beings in this universe. I will make them find all the seal locations in this universe." Gu Qijue was slightly surprised upon hearing this. This was the first time he had learned that an SSS rank expert could control the thoughts and consciousness of living beings in a universe. This was a terrifying matter. If such an expert appeared in the Sacred Mark universe, everyone in the Sacred Mark universe would become walking dead. He asked with extreme apprehension, "Do all SSS rank experts possess this kind of ability?" The eerie god lord sneered. "Of course not. Every high-rank expert has strengths and weaknesses. This god's greatest strength is manipulating the thoughts and consciousness of living beings, turning them into this god's puppets." Gu Qijue felt that the eerie god lord's ability was extremely powerful. Logically, the eerie god lord, possessing this ability, should have brought a group of powerful subordinates to fight the 8 supreme experts. But the eerie god lord, despite being a mage, had the heart of a berserker. When he fought 1 against 8, he was completely alone, facing 8 enemies single-handedly, and was subsequently sliced into 1,000 pieces. Gu Qijue did not want to repeat the same mistake. He planned to start cultivating some powerful puppets for his eerie clone immediately. He asked earnestly, "After the Zhantian clan is controlled by you, can they still cultivate and grow?" the eerie god lord gave a very affirmative answer. Of course, there are many types of control. It can be absolute control, or it can be priority control. Absolute control means controlling all actions of the puppet. Priority control is influencing the puppet to raise the priority of certain matters. As long as the Zhantian clan puts cultivation and advancement first, they will try every means to cultivate and grow. After the eerie god lord finished speaking, Gu Qijue realized there were many benefits to keeping him around. This old monster knew many things that Gu Qijue did not. The eerie god lord had existed for longer than some universes. Old monsters in the common sense could only be considered younglings, or even toddlers in front of the eerie god lord. Knowing the eerie god lord's ability, Gu Qijue began controlling the Zhantian clan members at this outpost through his eerie clone. Buzz, an invisible aura swept in all directions. All Zhantian clan members enveloped by this invisible and ethereal eerie fluctuation were instantly controlled by the eerie god lord. Gradually, all living beings at this outpost turned into puppets controlled by the eerie god lord. To be precise, they were puppets controlled by the eerie clone. After controlling these Zhantian clan members, Gu Qijue successfully read their memories. The reason the Zhantian clan built an outpost here was to research bewitching god blood. The so-called bewitching god blood was, of course, the eerie god lord's origin blood. However, the previous eerie god lord was sealed by the crystal Holy Grail and could only use words to bewitch the Zhantian clan. The most tragic part was that no matter how eloquently he spoke, the Zhantian clan failed to destroy the crystal Holy Grail. Even Gu Qijue did not have the ability to destroy the crystal Holy Grail. He was able to release the eerie god lord by cleverly extracting the eerie god lord's power. By reading the memories of the Zhantian clan experts, Gu Qijue learned that the Zhantian clan had found quite a few instances of bewitching god blood. However, the Zhantian clan members here did not know the coordinates of the other bewitching god blood. End of chapter 460. Heading north, a supreme being has fallen. Zhantian clan stronghold. Command center. The Zhantian clan members, who were originally bright-eyed, now had vacant gazes, as if they hadn't woken up. All these Zhantian clan members were controlled by the eerie divine lord. Their life and death were solely at the eerie divine lord's whim. On the control panel of the command center, Gu Qijue was operating a treasure artifact crafted with Zhantian technology. His eerie clone sat on a sofa not far away. The eerie divine lord's rather complaining voice came out. I think when you borrow this god's power, you should at least give this god a certain degree of freedom. The eerie divine lord could now only speak freely. He couldn't do anything else. All his actions were controlled by Gu Qijue. Facing the eerie divine lord's complaints, Gu Qijue chose to ignore them. After his research just now, he already knew how to operate the Zhantian clan's control panel. The Zhantian clan's technology was very crude and backward. Because there was no need to develop technology, they wouldn't actively promote technological advancement. The Zhantian clan's control panel was a very crude terminal. Through this control panel, this stronghold could be controlled. These Zhantian clan members were stationed here for three purposes. First, to hunt myriad race beings. Second, to hunt wanderers. And third, to research what bewitching divine blood was. In the Zhantian clan's control panel, Gu Qijue saw some information related to bewitching divine blood. Due to the eerie divine lord's extremely high level, all of the Zhantian clan's investigations and research on the eerie divine lord were incorrect. Gu Qijue really wanted to find other, bewitching divine blood data from the Zhantian clan's control panel. But he failed. He only knew that the Zhantian clan also knew where bewitching divine blood was, but they hadn't recorded the coordinates. However, Gu Qijue also had gains, and they were huge gains. He obtained a large amount of information about the Spirit Clan, and the Spirit Clan database in the Infinite Engine was becoming more and more complete. With the eerie divine lord's help, he could soon unite the Spirit Clan and the myriad races to suppress the Zhantian clan and control the Zhantian universe. As Gu Qijue pondered these matters, the eerie divine lord suddenly spoke again. Something's wrong, Gu Qijue asked. What's wrong? The eerie divine lord said nervously. A being of ultra-high status is approaching the Zhantian universe. Gu Qijue was puzzled. How do you know? The eerie divine lord did not conceal anything and truthfully said. After advancing to SSR tier, there will be a certain degree of resonance with the universe. Everything in the outside world is my eyes and ears. I might not feel ordinary disturbances, but when an ultra-high status powerhouse descends, the commotion is like the sky falling and the earth rending, so I can detect it. At first, Gu Qijue thought the eerie divine lord was talking nonsense, but the next moment, his expression couldn't help but change slightly. Rumble. For some unknown reason, the entire Zhantian universe seemed to suddenly shake at this moment. Gu Qijue was unsure if the eerie divine lord was playing tricks, so he instantly projected his consciousness to the Snow Mountain territory. He then discovered that the Snow Mountain territory, which was an unknown distance away, had also suddenly shaken just now. Everyone was extremely surprised and puzzled for a moment, not knowing what had happened. Gu Qijue's consciousness quickly returned to his spirit clan clone, and he looked at the eerie clone and asked, "What's going on?" The eerie divine lord said uncertainly, "Nightmare self-destructed. The huge commotion just now was caused by Nightmare's self-destruction." Gu Qijue asked, "Is Nightmare one of the powerhouses who sealed you?" The eerie divine lord nodded. "Yes. We should set off immediately to find Nightmare and ask about the situation." Gu Qijue asked in confusion, "Even an SSR tier powerhouse won't die after self-destructing?" "Correct." The eerie divine lord answered concisely, but he quickly added, "The reason Nightmare self-destructed was to let his origin power drift into multiple universes. As long as a wisp of origin power isn't obliterated, he might be able to recover to his peak again." Gu Qijue was once again shocked by the power of an SSR tier powerhouse. It was clearly not an easy task to obliterate the origin power of a powerhouse of this level. For example, the eerie divine lord, who had been sealed for countless ages and could not receive any external energy replenishment, was completely fine. To obliterate a powerhouse of this level, one would need to divide their origin into infinitely many parts and seal them for a long time, making them very difficult to kill. However, Gu Qijue soon heard words that shocked him even more. The eerie divine lord said with extreme surprise, "Nightmare is dead." Gu Qijue suspected he had misheard. According to his understanding of SSR tier powerhouses, old monsters of this level were almost unkillable. He could only look at the eerie clone and ask, "Why do you say Nightmare is dead?" The eerie divine lord did not answer directly, but closed his eyes to perceive. After perceiving for a long time, he tremblingly said, "This god can no longer perceive Nightmare's origin power. He must have been extremely weak before he self-destructed. He chose to self-destruct, possibly because he truly couldn't escape, and at the same time, to transmit some information to other supreme beings. Go north immediately to find Nightmare's power fragments and see what's going on." The eerie divine lord used to live carefree because he knew he couldn't die, but now, he was terrified to discover that a powerhouse had mastered the means to defeat SSR tier supreme beings. If the opponent could extract Nightmare's power and obliterate Nightmare's will, they could use the same method to kill other supreme beings. Gu Qijue really hadn't expected to encounter such a big event. He originally thought that the universe hegemony war erupting in the sacred Mark universe was already the biggest deal. Now he realized that the universe hegemony war was nothing at all. According to Gu Qijue's original plan, he was going to become a warlord and develop his territory. Now that he could use the eerie divine lord's power to a certain extent, he could adjust his route. After some thought, he decided to follow the eerie divine lord's advice and go north to investigate. After plundering this Zhantian clan stronghold, he took Vivian, the kobold necromancer, the Usura necromancer Lin Myoyan, and Lin Myoyan's minotaur necromancer, and set off again. The kobold necromancer transformed into its two-headed demonic wolf necromancer state, serving as transportation for the group. During the journey, Gu Qijue continued to inquire with the eerie divine lord about these supreme beings. He casually asked, "Could there be a supreme being who controls time, capable of accelerating the obliteration of SSR tier powerhouses?" The eerie divine lord said with great certainty, "Yes, but that would only be a Pyrrhic victory. Obliterating a being of equivalent status consumes a great deal of one's own power. Otherwise, the aid of Nightmare wouldn't have chosen to seal this god." End of chapter 461, The Dream Realm, the correct use of Nightmare power. In the Zhantian universe, apart from the eerie god lord, there were no other SSR rank existences. Therefore, after the Nightmare clone self-destructed, no one else knew what had happened. Even some SSS rank Zhantian clan powerhouses only detected a burst of energy storm sweeping across the Zhantian universe. In the Sacred Mark universe, the situation was somewhat different. The Dark Emperor of the Dark Emperor civilization and the Heavenly Demon of the Lik civilization were both SSR rank existences. Although they were newly born SSR rank powerhouses, they still managed to perceive some things. However, these two giants did not order a stop to the war. since both sides had decided to start fighting. The sacred Mark universe could only have one ruler from now on. In the Zhantian universe, Gu Qijue and his party traveled north. Given his current rank, he was clearly not qualified to investigate matters concerning the supreme SSR rank existences, but knowing what was happening outside was still useful. At the very least, he could make some preparations to avoid dying vaguely and unknowingly. Gu Qijue found the fragments of nightmare power 2 months later. The nightmare power had merged into some energy stones, causing them to become contaminated. If the nightmare power could be used, these energy stones would naturally be treasures. Unfortunately, refining the nightmare power required a powerhouse of equal rank to take action. In an abandoned mine, the eerie god lord's expression became very solemn. Piled up in front of him were many energy stones of very low quality. He had inspected every single energy stone here multiple times. The results of the inspection left him greatly disappointed. After a long time, the eerie god lord sighed and said, "Nightmare is indeed dead. These energy stones, saturated with his power, show no trace of origin fluctuation. I suspect that a supreme existence is hunting powerhouses of the supreme rank." Gu Qijue asked, "What consequences will this have?" The eerie god lord chuckled. "There are 2 consequences. One consequence is that powerhouses of the SSR rank will become extremely dangerous. The other consequence is that newly promoted SSR rank powerhouses are certain to die, compared to those powerhouses who have accumulated and settled at the supreme rank for long ages. These newly promoted powerhouses are obviously easier to hunt." After speaking, the eerie god lord made a decision in his heart. He would not return to the SSR rank. Once he recovered to the SSS rank, he would decisively stop. During the years he was sealed, the outside world had become truly insane. Who would have ever thought that powerhouses of the supreme SSR rank could also become the prey of others' hunts? After Gu Qijue learned about the potential consequences of this event, he felt somewhat relieved. Even his main body was still far from becoming a powerhouse of the supreme rank. After he advanced to the SSS rank, he would first lie low and observe the situation. Only when the external situation was safe would he advance to the SSR rank. To be safe, he could even raise his main body and a large number of clones to the peak of SSS rank, and then advance to the SSR rank together. Then, with his main body and clones assembled, it would be hard to say who would be hunting whom. This gave Gu Qijue an incredibly long-term plan to cultivate 9 powerful clones and advance to the supreme rank together. Currently, he had the Ice Dragon clone, the Spirit Clan clone, and the Eerie clone. He was still missing 6. Since Nightmare was dead, he prepared to inherit Nightmare's legacy. He planned to use the Sacred Lion's secret scroll to create a Nightmare clone. Gu Qijue did not waste time but immediately started working on this. Buzz, under a powerful, formidable, and irresistible force. The energy stones infected by nightmare energy gradually shattered. These energy stones, along with the nightmare energy contained within them, began to rapidly reform. Under the eerie god lord's astonished gaze, the nightmare clone gradually took shape. The appearance of the nightmare clone was very strange. He looked like a normal person wrapped in petroleum, possessing a pair of blood-red eyes. The eerie god lord had long since seen this ability of Gu Qijue, but he still couldn't help but ask, "What kind of ability is this?" Gu Qijue would not answer this question. It would be troublesome if it allowed the eerie god lord to think of a way to escape the seal. After Gu Qijue created the nightmare clone, he found that it was not as powerful as he had imagined. This nightmare clone, like the Spirit Clan clone, was C-rank cosmic level. But Gu Qijue was certain that the nightmare clone definitely couldn't beat the Spirit Clan clone. Normally, Nightmare, as a big shot of the supreme SSR rank, shouldn't be so weak. The reason the Nightmare clone was so weak must be that he was using the wrong method. For instance, the Eerie clone, condensed from the Eerie God Lord's origin power, was explosively strong. He could easily control a stronghold garrisoned by 5,000 Zhantian clan warriors. In contrast, the Nightmare clone was truly too weak. Gu Qijue could only ask the Eerie God Lord, "What is Nightmare's ability?" He originally thought the Eerie God Lord would refuse to answer. Unexpectedly, the Eerie God Lord said straightforwardly, "Dream domain. You must control the nightmare power to form a dream domain, and then pull the enemy into the dream domain. Nightmare is extremely powerful within the dream domain, but outside of it, Nightmare is in an extremely weak state. After you activate the dream domain, you might be able to find out what Nightmare previously encountered." There was one more thing the Eerie God Lord didn't mention. That was his realization that he seemed able to form an alliance with Gu Qijue. Gu Qijue's ability to create clones was extremely domineering, if planned well. Gu Qijue could have a large number of clones advancing to the SSR rank simultaneously. If they had enough powerhouses of the supreme rank on their side, they wouldn't have to worry about being hunted. Even if they were hunted, they just needed to run faster than their companions. The eerie god lord's ability to flee and preserve his life were both top tier. Therefore, the eerie god lord hoped that Gu Qijue could grow rapidly and help him recover quickly. And at the same time, see what exactly was happening outside. Why had even existences of the supreme SSR rank become the prey of unknown powerhouses? With the eerie god lord's guidance, Gu Qijue began utilizing the nightmare energy to construct the dream domain. If one didn't know how to properly use nightmare energy, even holding a rocket launcher would only yield the effect of a fire poker. Facts proved that the eerie god lord's guidance was correct. Gu Qijue quickly mastered the ability to construct the dream domain using nightmare energy. After some time, a pitch-black dream domain enveloped Vivian, Lin Myoyan, and the eerie god lord's group. Within the dream domain, Gu Qijue felt as though he was a fish back in water. The nightmare clone, which was very weak outside, was incredibly powerful in its current state. Gu Qijue was confident enough to easily suppress opponents of the same rank within the dream domain. Inside the dream domain, even the Spirit Clan clone was no match for the nightmare clone. Even his main body, if he didn't use a high-level combat form, couldn't defeat the nightmare clone either. End of chapter 462. The Silent City. Collect nightmare energy stones. Gu Qijue's nightmare clone had only recently been created. He needed time to explore the capabilities of the nightmare clone. The information he currently possessed was that the nightmare clone must fight within the dream domain. Outside the dream domain, the nightmare clone's strength was very weak. The death of the SSR rank powerhouse nightmare gave the eerie divine master a tremendous sense of crisis. Therefore, the eerie divine master did not let Gu Qijue slowly figure things out, but instead directly told him some of the nightmare clone's abilities. The eerie divine master said, "The stronger your control over dream power, the more powerful and complex the dream domain you create will be. After a certain point, you can even set the rules of the dream domain." Gu Qijue asked with a curious expression, "Setting the rules of the dream domain? Correct." The eerie divine master confirmed. He thought for a moment and gave Gu Qijue an example. For instance, you can make your dream domain impose a restriction on flying. Some creatures are naturally flying creatures, skilled only in aerial combat and not ground combat. Or if some enemies are extremely agile, you can have the dream impose gravity suppression on all living beings, reducing their speed. The stronger your mastery of dream power, the more varied the dream and its rules will become. Furthermore, the more powerful the beings present in the dream domain, the shorter the dream's duration will be. If you are dealing with a powerful enemy, simply drag them into the dream domain. If you cannot kill the enemy within the dream domain, you must escape immediately once the dream ends. Gu Qijue realized that since the eerie divine master was willing to cooperate with him, the benefits he received were substantial. His understanding of the multi-universe was very limited. The eerie divine master's existence in the multi-universe spanned even longer than some low-tier universes. Therefore, he possessed an incredibly rich knowledge base, capable of providing him with massive amounts of information. Furthermore, the eerie divine master's abilities were extremely formidable. He could silently control 5,000 Jantian clan warriors, truly achieving the level of killing without a trace. With the wealth of information provided by the eerie divine master, the path forward for Gu Qijue became clear. First was utilizing the Sacred Lion's secret scroll to create a large number of powerful clones. Second was finding ways to quickly raise both his main body and these clones to SSS rank. Although his main body was currently only A rank cosmic level, his strategic status, however, was already at the SSR rank standard. The Dark Emperor and the Heavenly Demon, who were still playing the game of universal hegemony, were strategically like kindergarten children among the SSR rank big shots. Of course, he couldn't rule out that what he saw was merely a facade, and that both the Dark Emperor and the Heavenly Demon had deeper plots. Most of the time, what is displayed openly is what others want him to see. Gu Qijue's thoughts were interrupted. The two-headed demonic wolf necromancer had now led the group to a city shrouded in smoke. Something truly terrifying had happened here. Surrounding the massive city were 10 Jingyuan. Above the Jingyuan, the banners of the Jantian clan were planted. Not long ago, the Zhantian clan had massacred the population of this massive ancient city. After the slaughter of countless beings of various races within the city, their heads were mixed with dirt and piled up into the shape of pyramids. These pyramids of human heads were the Jingyuan. Gu Qijue switched his consciousness from the Nightmare clone to the Spirit Clan clone. His Spirit Clan clone then transformed into a plume of black smoke and entered the city. This ancient city had suffered an extremely horrific massacre. Corpses littered the city, the old. The weak, women, and children all had been killed. It was conceivable that this city was once an Eden, much like the Snow Mountain territory. Then this place was suddenly discovered by the Zhantian clan, and it turned into hell. Gu Qijue, in the form of black smoke, rapidly drifted throughout the city. He then discovered that the Zhantian clan had left no survivors. Even chickens and dogs were severed from their bodies. The Zhantian clan responsible for the massacre truly achieved the level of leaving no living thing behind. Gu Qijue sighed, then arrived at the center of the city and began guiding the undead energy to shape new undead. Although it was cruel, there was no doubt that the right to survival must be fought for and defended by oneself. Just like when the Star Cluster Alliance encountered the Klein people, if the Star Cluster Alliance had not fought to the end, many of its people would also have become corpses. Under Gu Qijue's guidance, undead energy swept and raged throughout the entire city. Many undead groggily rose from the corpses, while others failed to coalesce, quickly dissipating into pure undead energy, becoming nourishment for other undead. Gu Qijue released his undead legion to absorb this undead energy and grow together. Vivian, the Usura necromancer, the Kobold necromancer, and Lin Myoyan, along with Lin Myoyan's Minotaur necromancer, quickly appeared here. Before long, the eerie divine master arrived at the tower, accompanied by his nightmare clone. Vivian looked at Gu Qijue and respectfully said, "Master." These beings died without putting up any resistance. This indicates that the enemy they encountered was extremely powerful, leaving them no ability to resist. Gu Qijue nodded. He had toured the city earlier and noticed the same issue. Compared to the solemn expressions of Gu Qijue and Vivian, the eerie divine master's expression was very calm. He cared about nothing except his own life and death. If he hadn't realized that he might face the same fate as Nightmare, he wouldn't have chosen to cooperate with Gu Qijue. The eerie divine master glanced around and then said, "Have these spirit bodies help us search for energy stones that have been corroded by Nightmare power, as well as my origin blood." Whether searching for Nightmare energy stones or his origin blood, they could only cast a wide net. Gu Qijue hadn't done this before because many of the spirit bodies in the Undead Legion were simply too weak. If he sent them out, they could easily be annihilated, dissolving into undead energy. Now, knowing that major events were unfolding in places he couldn't see, Gu Qijue no longer had such concerns. Right now, as long as his main body and the Ice Dragon clone, Spirit Clan clone, Eerie clone, and Nightmare clone could rapidly improve, other matters did not need excessive consideration. If he remained merely a pawn on the chessboard before the great upheaval arrived, he would be at the mercy of others. Unable to control his own destiny, he had to become strong enough to leap off the board and become one of the players. Immediately after dividing the undead power here, the numerous spirit bodies of the Undead Legion began a carpet search in all directions. Large quantities of Nightmare energy stones were continuously being found by them. Ordinary people who obtained Nightmare energy stones could not utilize this special resource. Gu Qijue's Nightmare clone, however, could directly absorb the Nightmare energy contained within the Nightmare energy stones. End of chapter 463, Spark Outpost. Engage the Celestial Hounds. After a long period of exploration, Gu Qijue already knew the proper way to utilize these clones. These clones are all extremely useful tools. Normally, he only needed to give the clones 2 instructions. One instruction was to cultivate and advance, and the other was to fight. From now on, his main body could fight alongside 9 clones or even more. His consciousness controls the main body, and then gives the other clones combat instructions. Gu Qijue's consciousness switched to the Nightmare clone at this moment. His clones can fight independently, but the clone's abilities require him to research and develop them. When the clones fight autonomously, they only use abilities he has already researched and developed, excluding the Eerie clone. This is because when the Eerie clone fights, the Eerie God Lord is controlling the clone's combat. Normally, perhaps no one in this world understands the Eerie clone better than the Eerie God Lord. Gu Qijue had Lin Myoyan and her group rest at the camp. He, meanwhile, controlled the Nightmare clone to explore the surroundings. The Nightmare clone possesses the ability of Dream Realm Leap. As long as there were living beings nearby who were dreaming, he could leap over to them. Unfortunately, all the dream-capable creatures nearby had already been wiped out by the Zhantian clan. The Zhantian clan's style of operation was killing one person every 10 steps, leaving no trace for 1,000 miles. After the deed is done, they leave, concealing their merit and fame. In short, they kill but don't bury, they withdraw immediately after the killing. Therefore, Gu Qijue's nightmare clone could not leap into the dreams of the Zhantian clan. After wandering around the area, he returned to the camp. After many events occurred, he realized that his strategy for developing the Zhantian universe needed some adjustment. His strategy of traveling everywhere to find the Spirit Clan and other powerful groups for alliances and cooperation had run into problems. That is, the Zhantian clan was too powerful, and the myriad races were too scattered and weak. Even if he contacted all the myriad race beings, he wouldn't be able to command or deploy them. The simplest approach should be to raise the banner of resistance against the Zhantian clan, allowing the Spirit Clan, other powerful groups, and other oppressed beings to come to him. After understanding this point, Gu Qijue said to Vivian, "Find a place and establish defensive fortifications. From now on, we will directly confront the Zhantian clan. However, pay attention to intelligence work. If we encounter a Zhantian clan force we cannot resist, we must receive timely news to retreat." Gu Qijue prepared to lead the Spirit Clan and the myriad races in a mobile warfare campaign against the Zhantian clan. If the enemy advances, we retreat. If the enemy retreats, we advance. If the enemy garrisons, we harass. If the enemy tires, we attack. There was no problem assigning this task to Vivian. Vivian integrated the intelligence brought back by numerous undead and quickly found a suitable location for battle against the Zhantian clan, the Tianlu mountain range. The terrain of the Tianlu mountain range is extremely complex. Many areas are perpetually shrouded in thick fog, obscuring the true conditions. The environment here is harsh, but for the undead, it makes no difference. After deciding to use the Tianlu mountain range as a stronghold against the Zhantian clan, Gu Qijue began commanding the undead to construct and modify the Tianlu mountain range. At the same time, he continuously spread the news outward, partly to attract the Zhantian clan and partly to attract the myriad race beings. After Gu Qijue did this, he didn't attract the Zhantian clan, but he did attract the Zhantian clan's slave races. The Zhantian clan has many slave races. When facing the Zhantian clan, it's either losing their heads or kneeling down like dogs. Quite a few races chose the latter. The Black Beast clan is one such group. The Black Beast clan are a group of brutal, dark-skinned beastmen with disheveled hair. Although they knelt like dogs when facing the Zhantian clan, they definitely struck hard when facing other myriad races. The news that a group of resistance fighters had appeared in the Tianlu mountain range was quickly learned by Beast King Atai of the Black Beast clan. Every Black Beast clan unit has a leader, and their leader is honored as a Beast King. The garrison of this Black Beast clan unit was Black Beast City, not far from the Tianlu mountain range. In fact, most of the Black Beast clan cities are concisely named Black Beast City. The Black Beast clan's life creed is very simple: eat, fight, and reproduce. After learning that a group of resistance fighters had gathered in the Tianlu mountain range, a Black Beast clan combat troop set off immediately. Tianlu mountain range. Spark Stronghold. The reason for this name is that it subtly aligns with the meaning. A single spark can start a prairie fire. Inside the Spark Stronghold, Gu Qijue was listening to Vivian's report. Master, Black Beast City has dispatched 10,000 combat troops to attack the Spark Stronghold. This news was within Gu Qijue's expectations. They already knew that the Black Beast clan was a slave race of the Zhantian clan and was bound to attack the Spark Stronghold. Gu Qijue casually asked, "What rank is their strongest individual?" "D rank," Vivian answered concisely. Knowing that the strongest arriving Black Beast clan member was only D rank, Gu Qijue decided to let the Nightmare clone try out its skills. "I understand. I will handle these Black Beast clan members. You continue monitoring the situation in other areas." Vivian bowed respectfully. "As you command." After Vivian left, Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone took the Nightmare clone and headed to the battlefield together. The Nightmare clone was responsible for killing, and the Spirit Clan clone was responsible for burying. Even though they were despicable myriad race traitors, they should still be given a chance to nourish the earth and become fertilizer for fertile soil. The Black Beast clan traveled to the Spark Stronghold by flying at low altitude. Some used treasure artifacts, while others flew directly using their physical bodies. Still others chose an unbelievable method of travel, the bouncy leap travel method. They flew high up, dropped heavily, and then flew high again, repeating the cycle. The massive commotion caused by the Black Beast clan was naturally noticed by other beings hiding in various locations. They were also aware of the changes that had occurred in the Tianlu mountain range recently. They knew that an additional spark stronghold resisting the Zhantian clan had appeared in the Tianlu mountain range. However, no faction chose to make contact with the spark stronghold, because the Zhantian universe never lacked resistance fighters. It was just that most resistance fighters were brave but lacked strategy. Possessing no way to survive, the banner of resistance would soon break after being raised. All factions wanted to know how long the resistance fighters of the Spark Stronghold could last. When Black Beast City took action, the Spark Stronghold responded. The Spark Stronghold's response was to dispatch 2 combat units. Moreover, they weren't aiming to fight 5,000 with one, but 10,000 with one. After Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone and Nightmare clone arrived at this location, his Nightmare clone went straight forward and blocked the Black Beast clan's combat troop. Boom! A massive and vast Nightmare power instantly swept across all directions, enveloping all the Black Beast clan warriors. The next moment, numerous Black Beast clan members and scouts from other factions all entered the Dream Realm domain. 464. The Nightmare's first battle, Carnage in the Dream. The Dream domain was dark and chaotic. Without sun or sky, it was a depressing world dominated by black. The Black Beast clan members suddenly appeared in the Dream domain, and everyone was greatly shocked. The Black Beast clan knew that there were many races in the Zhantian universe with various miraculous abilities. However, they had never encountered a race possessing dream power before. At this moment, besides the Black Beast clan, scouts from many other forces were also trapped in the Dream domain. Upon realizing they were trapped in this place and couldn't leave, everyone felt quite nervous. However, none of these scouts acted rashly. They all waited to see how things would unfold. The Black Beast clan excels at head-on combat, fist to flesh, and is not good at dealing with such strange and unpredictable methods. After this group of 10,000 Black Beast clan members discovered Gu Qijue's figure not far from them, they didn't hesitate and charged directly towards Gu Qijue. Those 2 ants are ahead. Charge over and tear them in half? No, we should tear them to shreds. The Black Beast clan warriors did not feel any great danger from Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone and Nightmare clone. This indicated that the strength of Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone and Nightmare clone was mediocre. Their purpose might even just be to create a domain to trap everyone. Their true enemy was outside. As the numerous Black Beast clan members charged forward, Gu Qijue said indifferently, "There are sharp Chevox de Fries in the Dream Realm. They are about to pierce the charging Black Beast clan members." As his voice fell, the dream energy began to change strangely. The area in front of the Black Beast clan was originally empty, but the moment Gu Qijue's voice fell, numerous Chevox de Fries with runic spears suddenly appeared in front of the charging Black Beast clan. Puff, puff. Suddenly, many frantically charging Black Beast clan members all turned into candied haws, impaled on the Chevox de Fries with runic spears. Although the Black Beast clan found Gu Qijue's methods very strange, the commander of 10,000 of the Black Beast clan still decisively ordered, "Fly over and tear him apart?" The reason they hadn't flown directly before was that this place severely suppressed everyone's perception. They couldn't be sure if there was danger in midair. As many Black Beast clan members chose to fly at low altitude, Gu Qijue said indifferently, "Terrifying spatial cracks have appeared in the midair of the Dream Realm. Invisible, formless, and incomparably sharp spatial blades will tear everything apart." As his voice fell, many Black Beast clan members seemed to be cut into minced meat by invisible blades. In the dream space, blood rain began to fall at this moment. This scene filled the Black Beast clan members with extreme fear. If Gu Qijue's Nightmare clone had engaged them in fist-to-flesh combat, they wouldn't have feared it in the slightest, even if their heads were smashed in. But Gu Qijue didn't. He used extremely strange methods, hunting Black Beast clan warriors in a way they couldn't comprehend. The commander of 10,000 of the Black Beast clan dared not easily order an attack this time. This resistor was indeed different from previous resistors. Their high-profile resistance against the Zhantian clan's rule indeed showed they had 2, or even 3, tricks up their sleeves. The commander of 10,000 of the Black Beast clan uncharacteristically began to observe the situation. The Black Beast clan's fighting style was generally attack, attack, attack. The battle would only end when the opponent was completely overwhelmed or they themselves were all dead. but the enemy they encountered this time was extraordinary. Even though most Black Beast clan members considered their brains superfluous, they still had to use them now. After a brief observation, the commander of 10,000 of the Black Beast clan said, "Form a defensive array and hold to the death. Wait for him to attack. Roar." This order caused dissatisfaction among most of the Black Beast clan. Black Beast clan warriors never retreated, although Gu Qijue's methods were very strange. He would surely be torn to shreds under their fearless charge. Roar! Some Black Beast clan members roared suddenly, then launched another charge. Retreating and holding a defensive array to the death was impossible. It would never happen in this lifetime. Only by constantly charging and dying on the path of charge could they uphold the honor of the Black Beast clan. Watching the continuously charging Black Beast clan, Gu Qijue said indifferently, 20 meters away, there is an invisible wall with an incredibly scorching temperature. Any living being that touches the wall will instantly be incinerated into ashes. Then, those frantically charging Black Beast clan members indeed turned into plumes of black smoke, one after another. At this point, most of the dream energy in the dream domain had been consumed. After Gu Qijue sensed the rapid consumption of dream energy, he had no intention of continuing to play around. He directly stated, unspeakable giant tentacles appeared in the dream realm, sweeping through the Black Beast clan. After Gu Qijue finished speaking, the energy of the dream domain was instantly drained. Crack, crack. Suddenly, a huge void realm crack appeared not far from the Black Beast clan. Then, an octopus tentacle covered in barbs extended from the void realm crack. This giant tentacle was incredibly enormous. Boom, 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 boom. Before the Black Beast clan could react, the giant tentacle began to violently strike them. Every time the mountain-like giant tentacle lifted and fell, it seemed as if a river would appear on the ground. The remaining Black Beast clan members were struck by the giant tentacle. They were either instantly smashed to pieces or sent flying by the shockwave. After some time, the dream realm completely shattered, and the Black Beast clan members were turned into bone paste and flesh paste. The Nightmare clone's fighting style was clearly very powerful and terrifying. At this moment, Gu Qijue's consciousness switched from the Nightmare clone to the Spirit Clan clone. The Nightmare clone was a one-shot burst, exhausted after one attack. At this moment, the Nightmare clone was completely depleted of energy. Not a single drop left, however, the battle had ended, and the Nightmare clone was no longer needed. Buzz! A wave of death energy swept across the entire scene. The numerous Black Beast clan spirits began to try to condense. Some spirits successfully condensed and became members of the Undead Legion. Other spirits shattered, turning into pure death energy, becoming nourishment for other undead warriors. Fusion, Gu Qijue said coldly. Numerous undead warriors began to continuously fuse. Their numbers became fewer and fewer, but the remaining undead warriors grew stronger and stronger. In the end, only one C-rank cosmic-level Black Beast undead remained. After all this was done, Gu Qijue's Spirit Clan clone and Nightmare clone did not stay in this place, but returned to Spark's stronghold. The battle that occurred here was quickly relayed among various forces by the scouts who had observed the entire battle. End of chapter 465. The Beastmaster's Wrath, reinforcements from the Ice Plains. This made creatures of many races and factions realize that a fierce dragon had arrived in the Tianlu mountain range. Extremely savage. Everyone confirmed that Spark's stronghold was not a scheme by the Black Beast clan or the Zhantian clan intended to lure enemies out and gather them for a siege. Spark's stronghold is a true resistance force, and a powerful one at that. However, no race or major faction easily defected to Spark's stronghold yet. Since Spark's stronghold killed 10,000 Black Beast warriors this time, it's obvious the Black Beast clan will retaliate 100%, although Spark's stronghold is not weak. Whether they can withstand the Black Beast clan's retaliation remains uncertain. Black Beast City. Lord's Hall. Beast King Atai, the leader of the Black Beast clan, was furious. The terrifying pressure originating from the B-rank cosmic-level expert was fully displayed on this dark-skinned, robust man. These damned rats. Normally they only dare to hide, but this time they actually jumped out to bite. Starting now, gather every Black Beast clan warrior that can be assembled. 3 days from now, I will lead all Black Beast clan warriors to trample Spark's stronghold into dust. The other Black Beast clan experts heard the leader's command and bowed. As you command, Lord Beast King. They deeply resented Spark's stronghold. Since the Black Beast clan followed the Zhantian clan, they had never suffered such a huge loss. Under the Beast King's command, many members of the Black Beast clan began to rapidly assemble. Led by the Beast King, They intended to turn the enemies who dared to provoke the Black Beast clan into dust. The actions of the Black Beast clan were being watched by all factions. Everyone expected the Black Beast clan to retaliate against Spark's stronghold, but no one truly anticipated such an enormous reaction from the Black Beast clan. After losing 10,000 combat troops, the Black Beast clan actually decided to deploy their entire force and fight to the death against the resistance fighters of Spark's stronghold. All tribes and factions near Spark's stronghold and around the Tianlu mountain range, they all quickly received this news. The commotion caused by the Black Beast clan was too great. It was hard for anyone not to know about their impending action. Upon learning that the Black Beast clan was about to deploy its entire force for a decisive battle against Spark's stronghold, many surrounding races and factions could only shake their heads and sigh. There was no doubt that Spark's stronghold possessed considerable strength, but they were too ostentatious and didn't know how to conceal their strength and bide their time. They had angered the Black Beast clan to the point that even if the Black Beast clan only sent 100,000 combat troops, Spark's stronghold would be annihilated. If the Black Beast clan deployed its entire force, that meant a full 300,000 Black Beast clan members moving out together. The people at Spark's stronghold could either escape or wait for death. There was no third possibility. Deep within the Tianlu mountain range, there was a tribe called the Ice Clan. This tribe naturally controlled the power of ice. The colder and more frozen the place, the more habitable it was for them. Most of the Ice Clan members usually hid in the ice plain deep within the Tianlu mountain range, occasionally venturing out to the periphery. This time, the Ice Clan expert operating on the periphery brought back some extraordinary news. Ice Clan. Great Hall. Many high-ranking members of the Ice Clan were listening to a report from a clansman. A group of experts arrived at the periphery of the Tianlu mountain range recently. These experts built a Spark stronghold on the periphery of the Tianlu mountain range. Spark stronghold raised the banner of resistance against the Zhantian clan's rule, attracting the attention of the Black Beast clan, the Zhantian clan's slave race. The many Ice Clan elders showed varying expressions upon hearing this. An elder spoke with an angry expression. The Black Beast clan scum actually acts as dogs for the Zhantian clan. Other elders believed that the people of Spark's stronghold were not rational enough. Compared to the Zhantian clan, the power of the 10,000 races was simply too weak. Under such circumstances, openly resisting the Zhantian clan was simply courting death. There were also some elders whose expressions remained largely unchanged. As long as the Zhantian clan didn't attack them, they wouldn't react much. But the many Ice Clan elders hadn't expected the battle between Spark Stronghold and the Black Beast clan to be different from what they imagined. The clansmen who went out to gather intelligence continued. The Black Beast clan dispatched 10,000 combat troops to attack Spark Stronghold. Spark Stronghold sent 2 people to meet the challenge. Both of these individuals are C-rank cosmic level experts. One can control dream energy, and the other possesses death spirit energy. The expert controlling dream energy wiped out the 10,000 Black Beast clan combat troops. Afterward, the expert controlling death spirit energy turned all the fallen Black Beast clan warriors into death spirit soldiers. The many Ice Clan elders clearly hadn't anticipated that things would turn out this way. Spark Stronghold sent out 2 experts and annihilated a 10,000-man combat unit of the Black Beast clan. This suggested that Spark Stronghold's strength was very formidable. In the Zhantian universe, the 10,000 races had suffered under the Zhantian clan for a long time. If there was an opportunity to resist the Zhantian clan's rule, the Ice Clan and some other races would be willing to take a chance. An Ice Clan elder quickly asked at this moment, "What happened next? What is the subsequent situation?" The rest of the Ice Clan elders also looked intently at the young Ice Clan member. The young Ice Clan member named Hanmu didn't expect the elders to care so much about this matter, but he didn't keep them in suspense and immediately revealed all the information he knew. Spark Stronghold's actions completely enraged the Black Beast clan. Currently, Beast King Atai of the Black Beast clan is gathering all Black Beast clan warriors. They plan to raise the entire Spark Stronghold to the ground shortly. Upon hearing this news, all the Ice Clan elders frowned in contemplation. Spark Stronghold has great potential, and the 10,000 races should indeed step forward to resist the Zhantian clan. By constantly hiding and retreating, the 10,000 races will only be swallowed up completely by the Zhantian clan little by little. With the strength of Spark Stronghold alone, it is clearly impossible to resist the Black Beast clan. The Ice Clan Grand Elder pondered for a moment, then made up his mind and said, "Contact the people at Spark Stronghold. Tell them to abandon Spark Stronghold immediately and head deep into the Tianlu mountain range. The Ice Clan can seal off the ice plain and save them this one time." The Black Beast clan dislikes the cold and cannot withstand extremely cold environments. The extremely cold environment on the Ice Plane is fatal to ordinary members of the Black Beast clan. With the Ice Clan's blessing, the Ice Plane will become even colder. If the Black Beast clan army pursues them onto the Ice Plane recklessly, many Black Beast clan members could freeze to death. However, the Ice Clan will not allow the people of Spark Stronghold to stay on the Ice Plane indefinitely. After all, the Ice Plane's resources are limited. And the Ice Clan needs to develop too. They don't have extra resources for the people of Spark Stronghold. On the Ice Clan's side, the person heading to Spark Stronghold to deliver the message was Han Mu. Han Mu and the Ice Clan elders clearly wouldn't know that Gu Qijue had no intention of fleeing, but was instead waiting for the Black Beast clan to come and court death. 466, the mysterious god lord makes his move, the Beast King takes his final bow, at Spark Stronghold. Gu Qijue was contemplating ways for his main body and clone to quickly advance and improve. After accumulating a massive advantage, he no longer needed to advance step by step like other universe-level warriors. He didn't even need to fight to the death in the sacred Mark universe like Dark Emperor and the Heavenly Demon. Vying for the position of Universe Overlord, what he needed to do now was find a way to collect a large amount of various resources. With enough resources, his main body and clone could rapidly improve. Furthermore, he could manufacture a large number of extremely top-tier war machines for combat. In the Zhantian universe, the simplest way to obtain vast resources was to lead the myriad races in overthrowing the tyrannical ruler. The Zhantian clan. As long as the Zhantian clan was dealt with, their resources could be divided, and the resources of the Zhantian universe could be mobilized to the greatest extent. There were no SSR-tier powerhouses in the Zhantian universe, making it easier to cultivate his clone here without being obliterated. While Gu Qijue was pondering these matters, representatives from several forces arrived at Spark Stronghold. The people came to Spark Stronghold for two reasons. One was to affirm the correctness of Spark Stronghold's resistance against the Zhantian clan, and the other was to advise the people of Spark Stronghold to go into hiding. Spark Stronghold, Conference Hall. Gu Qijue met with representatives from various surrounding forces here. Gu Qijue glanced at everyone and asked, "What brings everyone to Spark Stronghold?" Han Mu of the Ice Clan immediately stood up. "Lord Gu Qijue, we hope you can temporarily avoid their sharp edge. To the myriad races, any force that resists the Zhantian clan is precious. Although the warriors of Spark Stronghold possess extremely powerful combat capabilities, the Black Beast clan is also not to be underestimated. This time, the Black Beast clan, led by Beast King Atai, has come out in full force. It is truly not a wise move for the warriors of Spark Stronghold to choose to confront the Black Beast clan head-on." Gu Qijue agreed with Han Mu's view, because a direct confrontation between Spark Stronghold and the Black Beast clan was indeed not a wise move. Therefore, his choice was not a head-on confrontation, but a direct crushing. He was preparing to use the power of the eerie god lord to teach Beast King Atai a lesson, telling Beast King Atai, "So you're the one called Beast King, huh?" Although the eerie god lord could currently only utilize the power contained within 2 drops of origin blood, he still possessed S-tier combat strength. A mere Beast King could be slapped to death with one palm in front of the eerie god lord. Han Mu and the others did not know of the eerie god lord's existence. After Han Mu spoke, representatives from numerous clans and forces all began to offer strategies and advice for Spark Stronghold. Gu Qijue did not give these representatives a chance to continue showcasing their eloquence. He looked at everyone and said concisely, "Spark Stronghold has sufficiently powerful trump cards to annihilate the Black Beast clan. Everyone just wait and see." With that, Gu Qijue stood up and left the conference hall, watching his departing back. Han Mu and the others exchanged glances, momentarily dumbfounded. In their opinion, Gu Qijue was being somewhat irrational. No matter what trump cards or backup plans he had, facing the Black Beast clan in full force. Facing Beast King Atai, his underestimation of the enemy was absolutely an extremely dangerous matter. However, the crowd no longer had the opportunity to continue talking with Gu Qijue. For a time, everyone was worried. Spark Stronghold had considerable strength, and not long ago it had severely struck the Zhantian clan's lackeys. Regardless, everyone hoped that Spark Stronghold could endure. The myriad races of the Zhantian universe, of course, all wanted to eliminate the Zhantian clan and its numerous henchmen. But now was undoubtedly not the time for an all-out war with the Zhantian clan. As for when would be the most suitable time to fully engage the Zhantian clan in war, no one could answer that question. Regardless of how worried the various forces near the Tianlu mountain range were, a major battle between Spark Stronghold and Black Beast City was already inevitable. To be precise, this was not a major battle, but rather Black Beast City unilaterally slaughtering and crushing Spark Stronghold. Last time, to deal with the Black Beast clan's 10,000 combat troops, Spark Stronghold dispatched 2 people. This time, to deal with the Black Beast clan's 300,000 combat troops, Spark Stronghold would need to dispatch at least 60 powerhouses of the same level. But in fact, Spark Stronghold not only did not dispatch 60 powerhouses of the same level, it didn't even dispatch 6 powerhouses. They only dispatched 1 powerhouse, which might seem like child's play to the Black Beast clan and the various forces of the Tianlu mountain range. But for Spark Stronghold, dispatching 1 powerhouse was already enough, even more than enough. If possible, Spark Stronghold would even choose to dispatch half a powerhouse to resolve this crisis, because the one appearing before the Black Beast clan army was the Eerie God Lord. A starved camel is still bigger than a horse, and the Eerie God Lord was not a starved camel, nor even a starved elephant, but a starved Tyrannosaurus Rex. On the horizon, the majority of the Black Beast clan's army was traveling at low altitude. This was a majestic army of 300,000, resembling a moving black cloud. In front of the 300,000-strong army, a figure floated in midair. His figure was very tall, nearly 1.9 meters, but he was not burly instead. He was somewhat slender. The Eerie God Lord wore a very elegant dark blue suit. In his breast pocket was a white rose. The Eerie God Lord's hair was gray, but he had the face of a middle-aged man. He also wore a golden monocle over his left eye. Facing the Black Beast clan's 300,000-strong army, the Eerie God Lord was extremely calm. However, deep within his pupils, killing intent continuously brewed. The Eerie God Lord was capricious, acted as he pleased, and his methods were bizarre and unpredictable. The Black Beast clan members, of course, saw the Eerie God Lord who appeared before them. Although they knew Spark Stronghold had powerhouses, they didn't care. Because this time, their esteemed Beast King Atai was acting with them. Under the leadership of the Beast King, they would crush their enemies to dust. Facing the Eerie God Lord, Beast King Atai chose not to send his underlings to their deaths, but rather went to his own death personally. Roar, the Beast King roared, transforming into a black shadow, and charged towards the Eerie God Lord. His B-tier universe-level powerhouse aura was fully displayed at this moment. As the Beast King continuously approached, the Eerie God Lord took out the white rose from his breast pocket. Snap! The Eerie God Lord gently exerted force, tearing off a petal. Then everyone watched in horror as the Beast King's left hand, as if severed by an invisible force, instantly fell to the ground. Then everyone watched in horror as the Beast King's left hand, as if severed by an invisible force, instantly fell to the ground. Beast King Atai was furious, circulating pure and domineering power, intending to regrow his severed limb. But he quickly discovered, to his horror, that he had actually lost the ability